Good morning, traders out there. Welcome back. It's another hot day here as we're getting GDP to come in. And will it stop the rally? I think today's a clear day where the bulls can get stomped. And there's a big reason why. Well, of course, big tech earnings coming tonight. And that's a big caveat that we got to be looking at in the market today. Why? Because a lot of times we run into these earnings and it's a sell the news event. So we'll see what happens with the actual earnings that come in tonight. But I think it's important to see that the market's starting to come down. We just got GDP number and there goes the market. So I know I wanted to get short today and now the market's already kind of getting hit here. So it's going to be hard to jump on the downside action, but I do want to jump on this. I was all over this with the playbook. I hope you guys were able to capture that. Let's talk a little bit more about the playbook. Let's get into the GDP numbers too. Let's first give you the GDP numbers. We'll take a look into the market. We'll get to the playbook as a lot of what I was looking at was for downside action to come in. And there it is, guys. The leak is happening. And this is clear example to me that it's going to be a tough day for the bulls today. And I think this is a classic day where the bulls will get washed. And there's a reason why. Right? Because it's an easy day for the bulls have been winning. It's been 6 days straight. Now, will it be the 7th day? Well, I don't think so, guys. I think it's going to be a little tougher today. So my top plays on the playbook, we'll get just really quickly out of it. It's SQQQ to the upside, and it's VIX to the upside. As I look to see spikes happening here, and look what's already happened. We've already gotten the spike there on the VIX, and we've already gotten that SQQQ move. So we'll look to see if we can catch a little bit on the dip here. But, man, I should have been buying that dip right there in the pre-market and then being able to ride it into this move here towards the open. We'll see what happens. GDP coming in at a -3 versus a 0.2 estimate. What does this spark? Well, I'll tell you exactly right here. Money Mitch is going to call what you're going to see on CNBC in just probably 5 minutes, which is recession fears spike. You'll see it a lot of talk today. And why? Because of this, because of the negative GDP report. And it's a clear example of a day where they can go ahead and knock us right back down. So watch out to see what happens out there as GDP comes in at a -3 versus a plus 0.2 estimate. Prior being 2.4. Where the hell did the GDP go? Well, big concerns as, of course, we got tariffs coming in and this wasn't weighing in on this, right? So we got to continue to see what happens in the next report. And this does not look good for the market. SQQQ starting to spike. This is going to be an ugly, ugly day for a lot of stocks that were up big. So look for those momentum names to drop fast. Palantir, SoFi continuing to drop. Look for HIMS to continue to drop there. Even though it has good news, these are the types of days where the momentum names go first. So just like yesterday, I was calling an upside move for ARKK. I'm calling an upside move for the opposite. Sarkin today, guys, as we look to see some of these names start to crash down. Now, that's why I'm a little bit concerned about gold. I think gold could actually have an up move today, even though it's been starting to trend on the downside. We'll look to see if we get a spike on the GLD back above the 303.50s and going to be watching to see what happens here. I think it's important to take a look at different action. PCE prices did come in at 3.6 versus the 2.4. I think that actually caused some of the spike that you saw on the first reaction on the number. And looks like Hendricks is trying to join the show today, guys. So I'll let him come hang out. I know Steve will be proud of me letting Hendricks hang out. And who knows, maybe it'll be a little bit of a cat trading type of day. I'll tell Steve we got to let the cats make the trade. We'll find out what happens there. Let's keep it going here, guys. Those SPY continuing to drop here now back to the 548. And I felt like this was a clear day where we could see disaster. And there's a disaster stock right now that we need to talk about. SMCI coming out with preliminary news. Of course, their earnings came in here and their earnings weren't even supposed to come out. They are already down 19%. And I think this could go lower, guys. This is the starting of the disaster that I talked about could happen in SMCI. I talked about how we could start seeing an up move and then eventually a disaster type of move where SMCI goes off the board. And that's what I think is starting to happen. So I could be betting on downside on SMCX today. clear example of a day where you could go after this thing and look at it already dropping, guys, not even giving me the opportunity to short this thing. With the market coming down and a stock weighing down like this, a catalyst like this, it could continue to fall down. And there you have it, SMCI continuing to just get pounded. And this is when I'll tell you the truth, guys, this is when I could be making a ton of money just trading versus telling you guys the news. This is just how it goes. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys out and give you guys the information. But I can tell you guys right now, I'm missing out on the cash because there's easy cash this morning. And it seems like it was a nice little setup there. SMCX now down there. And I think that you're going to continue to see others start to drop. Look at NVIDIA. Look at that drop that you're seeing. This is massive. Guys, massive. And I think you'll even see a name like Microsoft reporting tonight. Look at the drop you're seeing right now, guys. Honestly, sometimes I am a little bit upset that I don't even take the trades before I come on here and talk about them. I don't like talking up my book. I like telling you guys the trade and then actually letting you see the trade action happen. But in here, I'm clearly missing out, guys. Look at the drop there in Microsoft. Look at the drop now. I don't even need to guess. Look at Meta. Boom. Disaster. SPY coming down. And a lot of people were thinking today was going to be a good day. It is the washing out of the bulls day, guys. Oh, man. What am I missing on here, man? Oh, this is a little frustrating that I'm missing the action, guys. I will say at least that is true because I wanted the SQQQ. Look at the SQQQ now. Almost up a full buck since that report came out there, guys. Since 8:30, it's up a full buck there, guys. I mean, crazy action. Downside coming in. The bears are out, of course, after the bulls are ready to take their beating. And they're going to take a beating because yesterday they were buying the dip. And today is not, to me, that going to be anywhere near the day to buy the dip. Look at the downside action coming in real quick. And this just seemed to me like to make sense, especially with the Qs. That's why I did the SQQQ versus the SPXS. And then you guys can see here, a lot of topping action right above this level that we talked about on the SPY, the 550. Now we're right back below that. What did I talk about yesterday? I said that we needed to look for attempts to this trend line. And this is a very important trend line, guys. I think we're heading towards it now. That's the 540s. That still gives 7 more points on the downside, but we are seeing a little bit of a drop, already 7 points. So about half of the move looks like it's already happening. And Vic saying only retail is buying the dip. Well, I would measure that a little bit off, Vic. It's not only retail, man. Retail can't move the market up like it did. Retail can help the move go faster. It can help the momentum. But really, the big money determines where the market goes. I always stand by that. Retail never determines where the market goes in the long run. It can only create fast momentum pushes because with the amount of volume that retail's creating compared to the institutions and hedge funds is really small. So it can be moving it. And I do think that retail is the one that's excited about buying the dip. But I also know that in moments like this is a clear day where they can stuff the bulls and the institutions can still win. What do I mean by that? Well, today's the day where they can bring the market down and the institutions aren't going to sell their Microsoft and Meta today. They're not just going to see the down action and be like, well, we need to get out of these names before the earnings tonight. No, they'll probably actually try to buy the close, especially if the market can come down some, because then it does a lowered bar action. That lowered bar can lower the bar for Microsoft and Meta tonight, that if they even come in with somewhat positive numbers, next thing you know, the market goes and does this. Boop, lifts that bar right back up. And tomorrow, we're looking at a bullish market. As, of course, Microsoft and Meta could come in with good reports tonight and knock it back up. But that leaves the room for uncertainty. So what happens? Retail usually stays on the sideline, right? Because the overnight hit could be a disaster to retail traders when usually it's not going to be a disaster to institutional style traders. We got to remember that, traders, and we'll see what happens today. I felt like it could be clearly a day on the pullback. Now the question is, do we come and we break this line? If we break that line, that's going to be a major concern. This is why I talked yesterday. What did I say? V bottoms. I also talked about this on Trader TV. It's very important to understand that V bottoms a lot of the times are going to approach that upslope line. We're going to move away from it like we did here. Then we're going to pull back to it. We're going to move away from it and we're going to pull back to it. We need to watch that line continue to hold, because the moment that that line breaks is the sign that we could start to see the bears really kick off and take some bigger positions. Of course, we talked about the chart yesterday about the 2008 comparison and how the market did a very similar move, eventually coming back and testing those lows, essentially doing what? Stomping out the bulls that bought down here. We'll see if we ever get a move where we get a move back down into that area, because you'll stomp out those bulls. But we have to see what happens there. I think thinking about that area is a little bit too much today. What I'm just thinking about is a pullback to this area. So names that have been high flyers, probably just coming down on pullbacks. So look for that to start affecting some names. And of course, you can take a look at the momentum names to be some of the leaders in that space. Even a name like, let's say, like a Clean Spark, right? We're seeing Bitcoin names really kind of jump. Well, today's that type of day where I could clearly see the Bitcoins probably come right back down. So we'll see what happens out there. I know Bitcoin's been trying to detach itself from the market. Today could be clearly that day also where it could really do that detachment. So I'm not betting against Bitcoin. I don't have a short on Bitcoin, but I'm going to be watching this because it's going to be a big level to watch here. Do we start making our way back to that trend line on BITO? I think that's one thing you could watch. Of course, I could pull up Bitcoin charts, but I'm just watching this. I'm looking to see if we get back into this space and start to push higher. All right, we'll see what happens there in BITO and other action. Let's keep it going. And you guys in the chat, what's going on out there? We got a lot more to talk about. It's 8:48. I'll be having Steve join me in a little bit. And later today, we'll be having Garage Day Trader joining in here, as he does a great show, guys. I've seen him trade before. This is a guy that I've been keeping up with for multiple years now. I saw him do multiple kind of trading platforms and different brokers. And like always, it's someone that I know has been putting in the time and effort to get better. So I'll be bringing him on at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So stick around, team. It's a great day right here on, of course, Trade the Pool. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's take a look around. We'll go to the Sunrise Report. There's a lot of earnings reports to talk about and different stocks, but man, what action today to start the day. And Money Mitch on top of it here, looking for the downside, looking for it to come in. And guys, you guys know I make the playbook pretty early. And a lot of people were talking about how GDP wouldn't be an important data point today. Clearly important today. And I thought so too. Why? Because we're all on recession fear watch. Everyone is concerned if there is a recession or not coming. What have you been seeing from the bank notes? A lot of percentages starting to increase in that recession concern. And then when the market comes back, they start to pull that back down. But numbers like this don't lie in the economics. That's why I'm going to need to be pulling some of my economists next week, as I want to ask them a lot of important questions. We're going to get to some of the biggest ones, some of the ones you see on every single day on CNBC and Bloomberg. So I will be reaching out to some of the bigger names, of course, to get them on. I know I got Sam Staval that I could bring on. I have Bruce Suarez that I can bring on. There's so many names that I can bring on, guys, to talk about economics. I think it's important. We also got to bring on back my man, the CMT, Giles Coughlin. He did a really good job on talking economic data last time and telling us what to look for in the GDP number last time. So we'll be bringing him on soon, guys, and bringing on more guests. Let me know what you guys want to see, like always, so that we can keep growing right here on Trade the Pool. All right, guys, let's get to the sunrise. Let's take a look at some of the other earnings stocks that are moving and some of the action out there. This is always about what stocks are moving and why. right, traders, let's keep it going, guys. Let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. Definitely the action is a little bit intense out there as we are getting some downside action. Futures were drifting lower ahead of some data that was going to come out. And of course, we saw the data that came out, the GDP. Of course, the markets rallied yesterday on optimism around potential trade deal. And I talked about the deal that I thought was going to happen. And who else was talking about the potential deal coming out of what country? India. And man, sometimes I got to clip it. Because I got to go back to yesterday and clip that conversation. Even on Trader TV, I mentioned this, that I thought the first deal would come out of India. Why? Apple giving us some insights. Their adjustment in the manufacturing there told me that they specifically probably had insights from the White House on where to go, right? So in this case, India is part, I think, that Apple shifting things more to India is actual pressure to put pressure on India, being like, you want more? Well, you got to work with us, of course. And clearly, we're seeing that work. We got more rhetoric on that, right? Trigger for the move, as Commerce Secretary Ludwig teased a coming trade deal, country unnamed, while President Trump later said talks with India are coming along great. So keep a look at that, as I think that India will be the first deal to come through. Auto tariffs shuffling as Trump easing the pressure, sort of, kind of, right? I mean, we can talk a little bit more about that. Let's go to some of these autos, right? Let's go to Tesla here, as Tesla has been getting a big bounce off the 221. We'll see if it gets to the 300. We still got this big bet on. I know my man is going to be watching it out there. My man Michael Noss out there on the Stock Twits Life. We'll see what happens there. This is starting to pull back. It got close to the 300. I still don't know him lunch just yet. We'll see what happens there. Tesla starting to pull back, of course. Ford starting to pull back off of this market pullback. But, of course, what was happened? Well, Trump signed an executive order tweaking the auto tariffs. 25% on imported vehicle stays. The new cars assembled in the U.S. may qualify for partial tariff reimbursement on auto parts for 2 years. The parts tariff, 25%, starts on May 3rd, and reimbursement up to 3.75% of the vehicle's value until May of 2026, then drop to 2.5% until April of 2027. Trump will slaughter them if they don't bring the parts back. Yes, you heard that right. We'll slaughter them if they don't bring the parts back. So pretty much he's putting more and more pressure. Even though this is an easing of the tariffs, this still puts pressure on them to do what? Move more and more back here to the United States. Of course, I've talked about how the names that could be having better moves on this is Tesla and Ford. The ones that get pressured the most, GM and Stellantis. So these names are looking really bad. Stellantis is in concern for me. I think that Stellantis could be disappearing or be a buyout in a couple of months. We'll see what happens with this auto manufacturer. All right, guys, let's keep it going. We'll get to do the news. We got more to talk about. Let's keep it moving, guys. Of course, we're still close on the India deal. We'll continue to watch progress also on Japan and South Korea. Volkswagen's earnings are something definitely to talk about as part of this auto manufacturing story. And the profit in Volkswagen, just a complete disaster. Down 37% here. Revenues up 2.8%. Vehicle sales were at a plus 0.9%, so not the worst. Order intakes from Western Europe up 29%. The cash flow down about 0.8 billion. The CFO saying there's a mixed start and we must control what we can. So they're focusing on, of course, cutting costs and things like that. And a big focus on tariffs, because if they're not focusing on tariffs, well, there's going to be a big cost to that. And there's not looking good right now. Volkswagen could also be on the brink of disappearing. All right, let's keep going, guys. Starbucks stumbling on the turnaround costs. Let's get to Starbucks. Of course, you guys know how I feel about Starbucks. I'm big on bros, but look at Starbucks taking a downside action now to 76.40s and continuing to drop fast here. Let's talk a little bit more about that as we continue to take a look into the Sunrise Report. There's earning stocks all around. So if you guys have a stock you guys want to talk about, go ahead and bring it up in the chat. we'll keep it moving here. Let's get towards the Starbucks numbers, as they didn't do well at all. Same store sales were up 1% globally. U.S. transactions were up 4%. China flat. EPS here at 41 cents versus a 49-cent estimate. Revenues also missing here. So a miss on EPS and revenue tells me that they're trying their best to get like kind of traffic back. And so there's been a lot of promotions and things like that they're trying to adjust. They also increase massively on labor. That's where I see the big change here in Starbucks from, of course, the CEO, the new CEO that came from Chipotle, of course. And that's actually adjusting the company a little bit, right? There's some more employees, so things should go faster in the store. What I think he's trying to adjust was the speed of getting your coffee and the speed of which way the store is running. They want it to be a transaction where it's fast and you get to want to stay there. So they're working on things to make the stores look better, to make it more where you want to hang out and stay in. Making sure that you have to be a customer to stay in there, right? Before they used to allow you, like, even if you just bought the smallest amount thing, you could stay, or you didn't even have to buy anything. You could just hang out at a Starbucks. Now you cannot, right? Now, one thing that I do notice here in the earnings is that the margins are falling, and that's a negative sign. Why are the margins falling? I just told you, labor. But look at the margins here, guys. They fell from 12.8 now down to 6.9. That is a massive drop in the margins. And this doesn't look like it's going to improve in a, 1 quarter or 2 quarters. This is going to take a little while. CEO Nicole said here that the numbers don't reflect our momentum yet, but we're moving fast. I don't see that, right? I think that was definitely a pump by the CEO, and it's down 6% after hours. Not looking good here for Starbucks, down to 76.55. All right, let's go to cat out. The cat's out the hat, starting to make an up move, but I don't know if it's going to be able to hold on with all this downside action that's coming in the market. They missed on EPS, they missed on revenues, and they're still getting the upside action. Why? Well, let's talk a little bit about that, right? They're seeing a little bit kind of a bigger push. Stock is trading lower, but started to get the bounce back. It did take a little bit of a hit as dealers reduced inventory. Those types of things are costing them, because the truth is we thought interest rates would start to come down and help these companies, and they have not. So that's one thing that's definitely affecting them. The profit before tax was still down 24% year over year. So we got to see if this company can turn things around. I think this is more to do with the idea that Trump wants, right? Which is the Industrial Revolution. If that's going to happen, well, then CAT will be back up at all-time highs. If it's not going to happen, well, CAT can start to take a deterioration look because of the rate outlook, right? We'll see what happens. CAT's been hanging around for so long that I wouldn't put this one out. Now, one thing is the monthly candle is really starting to come back. So let's see if it can start to work back towards this 330 and start to push back here towards 400. It'll be a big turnaround and a key reversal there on the chart. Question of the day, guys, and I think that's one thing that we need to be asking ourselves is, if the U.S. does strike a deal with India, what sectors stand to benefit the most? Well, I think that you got to continue to see what happens with maybe some apparel. I still feel downside look for a lot of these names like ANF, AEO, Urban, right? Macy's. All these names could be down further. I've talked about how I'm expecting Macy's in single digits this year. We'll see what happens to these names. Those are the names that could see maybe some adjustment. But what we really see is an Apple push. That's what I'm expecting to look for. So if there's one way to push Apple back, it's to secure the outlook moving away from China. So look to see more conversation when that actually deal happens, that Apple can release some more information about their adjustments that they're making to the supply chain. All right, guys, let's continue to push. We'll see what happens out there. Markets dropping fast. A lot of this on the GDP report, but I think it's more just to do with the day, right? You had a couple of days where you continued to just drive. Finally, wash them. That's how the market goes. It doesn't give the bulls a chance to get out. It wants to hurt where it can hurt the most. Here, it's not on the downside bets. people started to pull off the shorts, especially when you start to get sideways action at the top. Well, clearly today, the shorts are starting to come back in. We'll see how much can they knock this back down. Look at us down now towards 546, losing altitude and losing it fast. That's what I expected today, and we're going to continue to look for that outlook all throughout the day. I think today's clearly one of those days where it could be a big leak, and then we'll see what happens after hours with the big tech names. All right, let's keep it going. What's up out there, AC? What's up? What's up? How we doing? And Starbucks needs to lower its prices. Well, the problem here, Vic, is that Starbucks can't lower prices because of the cost of coffee that has increased. The cost of labor has increased. There's a lot of like kind of unions that came out and things like that. Starbucks employees are getting paid more. Then you think about it from that point, right? Well, inflation came in and caused prices to go higher, and they're not going to bring them back down. If anything, they're going to continue to rise those prices. And some will say that will affect demand, but the truth is, coffee is like a drug. Don't forget that, guys. People are addicted to coffee. They must have coffee in the morning, and I can't blame them, because I'm part of that boat, right? I need my coffee in the morning, and it's just a part is, right? The Z's is on purpose. The prizes, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Vic. Hey, what can I say, man? Starbucks, I don't think will change things. Just like I don't think Chipotle is changing things. CMG is on the struggle too, since that's been continuing to come down. I mean, remember, this one did a stock split to try to help investors come in, and it's been struggling since. So Starbucks, Chipotle, struggling. Then we could take a look at Yum and other stocks that had earnings today. Yum, Pizza Hut. No one wants Pizza Hut anymore. Why does no one want Pizza Hut anymore? I'll tell you. It's a little known secret that you'll see around nowadays. Well, the stuffed crust pizza left us. And Pizza Hut held the stuffed crust patent for so long. Now, what are you seeing? You're seeing Papa John's has a stuffed crust pizza. You're seeing Domino's has a stuffed crust pizza. Well, guess what? Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza doesn't look so special anymore. So I think that's a big reason why Pizza Hut is on the deterioration and downfall. The only thing helping Yum is Taco Bell. Who's all about the Taco Bell out there? I can hear the bell somewhere out there. Get those Taco Bell. Who goes to Taco Bell late at night? I know you do in the chat. Let me know out there. What's your favorite thing on the Taco Bell menu? Rando, you mean overpriced coffee is struggling in a contracting environment? Unbelievable. Yeah, the truth is that some people would rather probably still pay for their coffee than probably even their car. Who knows, man? People need their coffee. Like I tell you, they're addicted. They'll still go no matter what. Even in the pandemic, people were getting their Starbucks delivered, right? So just to kind of mention it. All right, guys, let's get to the real show, guys. Let's kick things off. Time to start the countdown. Time to talk about things. I'll tell you one thing. The bear in me is breathing loud, and I hear it. That bear out there. It's loud today. Let's get after the market. Wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What's going on, traders? How we doing out there? Let's go ahead. Let's keep things going. Let's bring on my man, Steve, in the house. What's going on? How we doing, man?
Hey, good to see you. Oh, got my mic on this time. All right.
Yeah, we in there. We got it going here. Excited to get to the market today. And man, this is one of those days where it's one of those days where I got it right, but I'm here talking about it instead of making money. So I'm a little frustrated, but that's just how things go, right? I mean, it's part of being a person that's here trying to give education, trying to make sure that we're on top of things. But I had that feeling, man, really early this morning. I was like, dude, these bulls out there, they are singing and screaming. They are saying that everyone's buying the dip, that the market is going to rip today, that even value will rip higher. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We got to calm these horses down a little bit, guys. I know that you guys are excited. The price action's been great for you. But one thing I started to think about was, man, we're starting to go sideways at the top here. And that leaves room for the bulls to continue to add on positions, thinking that they got it made. And now it's time to hurt the market where the market can hurt the most. You guys hear me say about this all the time. The market loves to do it, and it's going to wash out its side at some point. In my case, I think that the sideways action washed out a lot of the shorts. So sideways action at the top got them scared. They were like, well, it's consolidating at the top. I need to get out before the big rip. Well, clearly not what is happening here. Now you saw some shorts probably getting out on yesterday's rally. Then today, the bulls start to get stuffed and the bears will start to come back in fast. What does this also leave the room for? Tech earnings tonight, right? Big earnings, right? Coming in. And that's an easy move to what? Knock down the market, scare some traders that get too scared on the intraday, and then earnings can come back in and raise the bar right back up. So I'm not saying that we're going to be back down towards like 500 tomorrow. What I'm saying is clear day where it's a washing of the bulls, and then look to see what happens towards the end of the day. That's going to be very important. I look to see that maybe you'll see some buying actually coming in on names like Microsoft and Meta towards the close. Why? Because you'll get a discount today. And that's how it'll be viewed, right? If it's down 5%, 6%, well, I just got a discount now on the price, right? And that's how a lot of traders will be watching the earnings tonight. It's going to be an important one. GDP coming in and shaking things up this morning, coming in negative with a positive expectation. What I mentioned, as soon as I saw this, the market actually moved up. I was like, cake water, what are you doing, market? And everyone was like, oh no, but look, the market's moving up on this. I was like, no. This is going to spike recession fears. Get ready, because today's a clear day where they can wash the bulls. And then right there, started to drop fast. I was like, man, this is the moment. This is the moment. And sometimes the moments can happen in pre-market where the most money right now was betting right there at that moment where you saw conflicting numbers, essentially a divergence. The economics told us down goes the markets, and the market reacted up. The algos bought it. Why did the algos buy it? My thoughts, the PCE number. The PCE number was an actual big positive number. So they read that number first and went to the buy button. Then the GDP number came in and they went on sell, right? And so that's how the algos will do it, guys. It's that quick. They see one number, they start to buy. They see two numbers, they start to realize, no, they're on the wrong side. It's time to get out. And then they flip. They're not like us where we get a little scared about reversing positions. They reverse fast and they double maybe the size on the downside. So here, clear example where we could see some leak. And then the problem is right at the open, it's going to be tough, right? Because now we've already gotten a nice leak. SPY down 7 points from the highs today, right? And so it's going to be tough trading. This is where it gets tough, guys. That's why I think it's so important to know the market in the morning, and sometimes taking shots in the pre-market can really be kind of beneficial for the all day kind of fade and rally. And now we got to look for it. What are you seeing in this market, Steve, at least from the action this morning, and of course our economic data that came in?
Yeah, so I think that I agree with everything you said. I mean, you nailed it, really. What I want to go over a little bit.
One more, just to bring it, the trade with India, the deal with India. Who was talking yesterday about potential deals coming from India? I'm sorry, guys. I've been talking to Secretary Ludwig, and I've been hearing the rumors out there.
He's dialed in, brothers. He's dialed in.
To tell you the truth, it's like I mentioned, Apple. When Apple says something, guys, pay attention. When Microsoft says things, pay attention, guys. They move markets. They're the ones that can actually call Trump and be like, no, you need to do this, right?
Yeah.
And Trump actually listens, because
Right.
at the end of the day, if Apple or Microsoft get destroyed, he knows the US gets destroyed. So in this case, Apple gave us a hint on the weekend that they're shifting a lot of things to India. Why are they doing that? It's to put pressure on the deal, right? It was a public way of putting pressure on the deal, right? Well, Apple's moving some stuff already there. Trump said, I already got them to do that. Do you want to see more?
Yeah, it's a wild situation we got going
It's
on.
crazy, man. It's crazy.
When there's so many variables like this, I resort to the technicals, So
Yeah.
I just want to go over what
Good
I'm
call.
seeing here. So this is the daily chart. This is the gap. That is a cat at my window. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, Hendrix is
Okay.
taking part of the action today too. I had that feeling it was going to be a cat-like type of day.
All right. Now we got that covered. So we filled the gap pretty precisely here. We put in a little bit over, and then we closed right into that gap there. So for me, that's kind of like mission accomplished, right? There was a magnet up here to heal this big gap, and we did get it. We did get it, and now we got to watch what happens off of that price. So
Yeah.
I was out of a good amount of my longs here, and I was saying, hey, it's a logical place to hedge. I don't know if we keep ripping higher and sweep this high up here, but what I do know is that this is a place where we could encounter sellers. So now let's zoom into the hourly chart here. And there's a few things I want to mention. First is this diagonal line. This is our downtrend line from all-time highs. We basically broke above it and tried to form a megaphone here. We could not tag the megaphone high trend line there on yesterday. And just another kind of sign of, hey, maybe there's a little bit of running out of gas happening up here. So I mean, heck, now we've basically sliced all of our short-term moving averages here. And the area of interest for me is this, what I would refer to as a daily trigger. So that's kind of how I gauge buyers and sellers, supply and demand on a daily time frame. If we are to catch and continue up and sweep the highs of the tariff announcement, which are up here at 565-ish, also my weekly trigger. So if the one trade might be to catch here and trade it up to here before the real big sell, we might undercut this, and then you could play the back test for a bigger move down. And one more thing I just want to throw on the chart, just to give you more clutter, more visual confetti to process. These are ATR level, or I'm sorry, basically Camarilla levels, and they give you targets for intraday price action based on essentially ATRs, like average true ranges of stocks. So what I want to note is that we are trading right into this basically R1 level on a Camarilla pivot chart, which is essentially like, if we're going to have a trend day, this is where it needs to accelerate down. If we're going to have a mean reversion day, this is where we could still catch and then trade back into the middle of the range. So keep an eye on this 546 level, 546.16. If we can hold that, I'll be looking to fade somewhere off of the bottom of the range, or maybe the middle of the range. 550 would be ideal. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. And if we lose this, then I will be targeting 542 to 543.50-ish, right in that zone there. So just some things to keep an eye out for today.
That's what we got to be watching for, and I think, like I've mentioned, the little V-shaped bottom is going to come into play now, right? And I think that's what we look for, coming towards that trend line. I think that's exactly what we got looking into play, and I mentioned it. There's days that we're going to break away from the trend line, and then we're going to come back. This is clearly one of those days where we're coming back. I mean, the only problem that this is happening is that it's happening too fast, too quickly in the pre-market. So what does this cause? Well, this is going to cause also some short covering out the gates. And this is also going to cause the longs to want to get out, maybe out the gates too, because they're just going to be put under pressure out the gates. And if anything, I would even expect to see right at 9:30 another little quick drop, right? Just to put a little bit more pressure on them, just to get them to hit that sell button. Then you might get a bounce the first 30 minutes of the market, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to be straight down today, guys. I do want to mention that. I know that I'm leaning to the bear side, but realize that a lot of times when this happens in the pre-market, you're going to get some type of conflicting noise at the first 30 minutes to an hour. So I think that's what you got to be a little bit careful of, because the move has already happened. And like Steve is looking for a little bounce here, I'll look for the same, right? Because I don't like to short on weakness. I like to short on strength, on the bounce back, right? And I think that's the important thing here. The only way to have short on the weakness was to short right on that 930 number as it was starting to break maybe 550. And then using maybe the highs or the 554, the 552 level as maybe you're out there, right? That I understand if you were ready for that move, right? But if you didn't capture that at the 550, I think jumping here and shorting at 546 is a recipe also for disaster. I'm not saying you can't do it, right? Like always, I don't call your shots, but I'll tell you guys that even myself, I'm like, oh man, it just went too fast, too quickly there. And I'm like, now I got to wait. Now I got to be patient. Now I need to see a bounce, right? So there's two things you can do. You can either try to play the bounce out the gates, or you can look to see if we get the further downside action later in the day. It's going to be tough. I think a lot of the moves have happened in the afternoon. So I'm wondering if we just get a pre-market move and then we get a little bit of some sideways action towards the open. We'll see what happens there with this action. A lot of stocks out there making moves with the earnings stock. What do you think about SMCI, man? I think this thing is, I said it. I said it today again. I think this thing is going to be a zero. I still think this is going to be a zero. I think this is a classic story where they're just not telling you what's really happening underneath the hood.
I'm with you. I think that it's, so there's a couple dynamics at play here. First off, crime is in right now. Let's be honest.
Crime is in, man.
All of these CEPs, all of these Trump coins, all of these. I mean, heck, I'm long MicroStrategy right now, so I guess I can't talk too much. But the gist is, there's a lot of grifting going on, and it's going pretty well. So in some regards, I was bullish on SMCI. These earnings are pretty damning. This is starting to look like a big old bear flag on the hourly here, and we can zoom out a little more. And as you can see, we got a bigger bear flag. And it kind of just failed where it really needed to hold and gain some traction. I was talking about that daily trigger before, and that's the blue jagged line here. We popped it, and now we're just knifing it completely. So for me, I think we're looking lower. I think we're looking into the 22 to 24 range here. We have, let's see, a gap right there that needs to be healed. We have a gap below down here. Excuse me. Yeah, so it's a lot of heaviness. And all of these moving averages are going to steeply curl down. So they're going to give us opportunities on pops to short into if we're looking to. I think chips are really weak, and I want to show you guys a really, really important chart here. It's IGV over SMH, and this is a ratio chart. And what this is telling us is the first one, IGV, that's software as a service. That's the ETF for software as a service. And then we're dividing that by SMH. So the first one is what this chart is basically representing, the strength of software versus hardware in semiconductors. So what we're seeing is we're seeing a long-term channel break. Let me turn these big old purple lines off. There we go. Long-term channel break. And as you can see, it caught on a very important, if my chart would load, you'd see that this was a demand zone from like about, 25 years ago. And they finally caught it, finally pushed out of this channel. It based for a couple months, and for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and now it's starting to break out again. So this could play out in a couple ways. We could see both kind of going down, and just IGV going down less, software going down less. We could also see, we could see both of them do okay if the market can catch, and like we saw recently, it's pushing up. Despite, I guess what I'm trying to say is either way you look at it, SMH is a great place for your hedges to the downside. And if you're looking for long exposure in tech, I think software has a lot of value. So this is a theme I'm watching really closely, and I'll be looking to hopefully get a nice pop today to get into some success.
That's great. It's a great conversation. I actually have an article that I wanted to talk about during the show based on that, Steve. Awesome. And it's a lot to do with what came out of the Meta AI conference, the Llama AI conference and developers conference. It's very important. Very, very important. I will say that, guys. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that at 10 a.m. I'm going to keep bringing in some really great conversations that we're going to talk about deeper into finance. So if you guys want to join in, all you got to do is hit that comment, guys. Hit those comments, whether you're out there on X, whether you're out there on YouTube, whether you're out there on Twitch. I don't know who's twitching it, but hey, whoever out there, let us know what you guys think also when we bring this conversation. And it's really interesting. I can tell you right now, half of all developers on Microsoft, Google, Meta, all the big names, even Tesla, are going to get fired. I tell you, fired. This is a big change. AI is replacing jobs, whether you believe it or not. You want to be mad about it? Go be mad about it. But I'll tell you right now, it might replace your job if you don't start focusing on it. So it's just how it is, guys. I can tell you that right now. And we'll talk more about that at 10 a.m. I have a big article on that. And it's a lot of information coming straight from where? None other than the sources, CEOs of Microsoft and Meta. So we'll talk more about that as we expand on that. SMCI down there. Of course, the SPY continuing to leak, but got a little bounce there, but it was very short-lived. We'll see if we can actually bounce or not towards the open there as we look to see what do we trade on this. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, there's so many stocks that came in overnight that we can talk about. But Caterpillar is going to be definitely one to watch. A lot of these kind of restaurant brands reported. That's not a big deal. I wouldn't even be trading those. I thought it was just a funny conversation with Pizza Hut, and losing out that stuffed crust is going to probably ruin the brand. The stuffed crust patent, man. I'm telling you guys, I can tell you guys because I remember when I was a kid. The only reason I ordered Pizza Hut was because they had stuffed crust. No one else had stuffed crust. Nobody. It was literally illegal to have stuffed crust before because they had the patent. And once that leaves, well, guess what? Now everybody can do stuffed crust. Competitive advantage gone. That's just a lesson in competitive advantage for all you guys out there to look for. Watch for moments like this when a company is very strong, but then something happens where it's no longer a competitive advantage. Once you lose competitive advantage in a place where competitors can do the same thing as you start to lose market share. And in this case, it starts to being more about what's sexier, what's cooler, what gets the hype. And in this case, Pizza Hut is definitely behind Domino's and Papa John's, right? Papa John's gets the view that it's supposedly better ingredients, better quality, and so that gets to move above Pizza Hut. Domino's is just the cooler marketing. I will say 100% they have better marketing than also Papa John's and Pizza Hut. But that's things like that. I think that's how you can do investment conversations in your head and kind of build and learn something underneath the kind of underneath the hood and really get a trade that you didn't think was happening before, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think it's interesting. What's up? What's up, Steve? What you got?
So I'm trying to trade a little more actively on the show. I'm trying to give you guys some more content. So I
love it.
I'm not saying follow me on everything. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. So I did take a short on GLD on gold pre-market here. We got a nice mean reversion up to this hourly trigger of mine. We also kind of mitigated a lot of the kind of loss that occurred overnight there. So I'm just basic bet is I'm expecting some mean reversion to the upside on Qs. I also took a small position on TQQQ long. Just looking for a little mean reversion, nothing too crazy. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on where it starts to catch and just taking a little base hit here. But looks like it's already working a little bit. So that's my plan. That's my plan here into open.
Not a bad one at all. And we all love to see that trading action. I think that's really important. It's the reason why I try to show so much, right? It's not necessarily because it benefits me at all. If anything, it puts pressure on me, but I think it's important for you guys out there to really learn, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, guys, is for you guys to learn from our experience, our ups and downs, so that you can do better in your trading career, right? If there's any way that you guys can improve because of a loss or a win that I take or that Steve takes, hey, that's what we're here for. That's what we look forward to, and that's what we're going to continue pushing for. GLD, I was one of the ones that I made some money on yesterday after losing some money on Dust. So I was able to like peel back some of the loss yesterday. Dust just kept going back and forth. And same thing with Roku, man. I felt like I had it 4 or 5 times. And then finally at the very end of the day is when it started to make the move, right? It was just a perfect setup and never wanted to go.
Such
That's
a
just
team.
how it goes sometimes, guys.
You know, it was the same for me, man. I was watching it after hours. I even cut my option. I had a GDX put, and you know, it was just waiting for us, and now it can make the move. It's the classic setup, you know. It's the caster's curse. That's why it happens, because
and it's a lot of what overnight action that we're seeing, the moves, the real moves, right? The smaller moves are happening intraday, the bigger moves are happening overnight. So with that being said, you just have to adjust and understand that sometimes the bigger moves are going to be intraday, sometimes they're going to be overnight. This is why swing trading can sometimes make sense, right? So it's just how it is. I've been taking a step back in my swing trading, but I'm really looking forward to getting back towards more. I know that we're working very hard, guys, and taking a review on the swing trading programs. So always give us feedback on what you guys have on those. So if you have feedback that you want to give the big guys, of course, reach out to us. Reach out to the help email, and that will go ahead and get there towards the kind of new look, right? We're looking towards getting towards that. I know I'm excited about that. Want to definitely do some more swing trading and want to get some bigger packages here and maybe go for another eval on the swing side of things, especially as things start to calm down. In summertime, things should calm down, and we'll see what happens, right? All right, guys, it's 9:27. We're 3 minutes to the bell. Let's start taking a look a little bit closer at actual trades that we can watch here out the gates. Of course, we already got one here by Steve mentioning about GLD, right? I'm a little concerned about gold today. I'm still like, in my mind, thesis short, but at the same time, with the market going down today, I'm a little concerned that we just get this type of short squeeze in gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? I want to be clear. This is just a scalp here. This is not a set and forget.
And that's why we can do this type of show, right? I'm not looking at Steve's short as a negative towards my longer outlook of the day for gold. I think that makes sense, right? Like I talked about, right? We're going to put some pressure probably because the market went down too fast. So it's okay to get that bounce. The first 30 minutes could be GLD downside, right? And then see it start to recover. Right? This is clearly how the market works a lot of times. There's a lot of flip-flopping, right? And day trading, you got to understand that's how it works, guys. It's a lot of flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. And so you got to be able to do what? Be quick decisions, look for certain time frames for your profit to come into play, and then also understanding that if it doesn't happen in a certain amount of time, you also start to look to see if it flips, right? Because this happens so often. Like yesterday, market's coming down and then all of a sudden we start to rip back up higher, right? Things like that is a clear example of what we've been seeing. The contrarian market has been doing really well, right? So we'll see what happens here with GLD, see if it gets the lift there. NVIDIA will be on the watch today. I think that could be a real disaster move down through 100 again. So we'll see what happens. Right now, it's already down to 104. It's been down from 108, but doesn't look like it's bouncing back at all. This is telling. Why? Because there's more and more mentions of how NVIDIA is really struggling in China. Pressure is being put on further and further from China on the one company they know they can make a massive impact on the US, which is NVIDIA, of course. And so what have you also seen? A bunch of new open language model coming from Baba, right? And so keep looking to watch to see more AI conversation coming out of China and trying to exclude NVIDIA. And trying to knock them out of the country, essentially. We'll see what happens here, guys. All right, market's open, and there he goes, guys. First action. Let's go see what happens out here. First action down as we got a little bounce right before this. So that bounce is actually playing into the downside here. Let's see how much they want to flush it. And I talked about the first action, right? Flushing the bulls, right? This is that clear action, right? Like, let's flush those bulls. They thought that the bounce was coming back. They thought they could hold on. Now they're all on the sell button. Their hands are like this, ready to click out, right?
I'm looking to buy back here. I just got stopped out. I took half tiny profit, half break even. Now I'm looking to get back in, but I'm going to give it some shakeouts here because it has room down. It has room down.
Yeah. So here comes the break of support to do the wash wick, right? So now look at the volume pretty heavy there. Let's start seeing that volume maybe increased here as you start to see maybe some dip buys through the 546.
I got in right at the bottom, baby, but it's probably going to shake me out and come back. Yeah, look at that. If I was really fast, I would have just taken that little bounce up, but I think that we swept the lows, and now I want to see it pop in a little bit higher there.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see a nice little push there. Now I could look to see a little bounce come back here towards like maybe 546.50s, 547. Let's see what happens if we could get a little bounce here, start to create a range here. So you did break that support there, and I'm sure you triggered some stops there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the thesis I'm going with. But, it's still looking weak, so I might get popped and chopped out here a little bit.
GLD, we'll see if it pops through the 305. I think it could still do the little pullback towards like 303, 303.50s, and then start to make the up move. So that would help my man Steve out. We'll see what happens here. VIX is also on my alert here, guys. I talked about it was on the playbook for the upside move. It's done an amazing move already. We'll see if it does this quick pullback towards like 65.50s. That's what I would like to see. If not, it could just continue to rise here out the gates. Remember I talked about the momentum names crashing. We'll see if Palantir and HIMS and all those types of names can come really fast on the downside. I think today's one of those days where you could definitely see it.
So I'm just looking for basically that gap mitigation like you talked about for this long I took off the bottom there. And that's all I'm going to be looking for initially. At least that's where I'll be trimming, and then I'll be watching very closely. I am putting my order in here now. And I'll put a stop on low of the day there. I'll give it a little bit of ticks just in case that wasn't the true bottom. But, it's tight leash today because I'm trading counter trend here, and I'm acknowledging that, right? So I will be taking half off just in a minute here as we pop into the kind of fair value gap. Not sure if you guys can. You're welcome to switch over to my screen if you want. I have my trading.
I got you, my friend. Ooh, I got you. I'm getting you up, my friend.
So yeah, this is all I'm rocking with here. I bought right here, got stopped out there. So not too exciting, but I'm just trying to do tight fundamental trading here. Just taking base hits, baby.
Continuing the rise there. SPY right back down here. Let's see what happens. There's 4 lows all in the same area. 545 50s, 545 75, 545 93. So essentially 546 trying to act as a bottom. We'll see if it can handle it.
Just like to see that opening price mitigate right here. Come on, pop up a little more for daddy. There we go.
VIX pulling back a little bit here. This is going to be my attempt to get in on this bigger pullback. I'm looking to see it here. There's a SPY coming back. I'll look to see it.
I got my fill, so now I'll keep this on break even because I free rolled the trade. I'd like to see a sweep and a push higher, and I would be happy if I'll check my volume profile on my other chart here.
All right, starting to get a dip here, guys. Going to get a starter in a second here on the VXX here towards the VWAP.
I like it.
All right, just took a little bit there, guys. That small 100 shares there, just trying to get the starter there towards the VWAP. Below VWAP is where I want to put size in towards the 65.50s, but want to give this a chance to see if it just does a quick rejection there on the SPY. So we'll see what happens. I'm long on the VIX there, and we got some trades on, guys. Let's get after it. Good morning. It's good to see you out there. Day trade with Tony. What's up, man? It's been some time, man. It's good to see you. All is well with the family here battling, and trust me, these boys, man, they're walking around now, and oh, good Lord, man. Take cover in the house. That's just how it is right now, guys. What's up out there, guys? How we doing, traders? If you guys are trading anything you guys want to talk about, let me know out there. Starting to see a little bounce there. I'm in the green a tiny bit. I still want to see some pressure get put on my position here a little bit, and then we'll see what happens. Q's still dropping there. as we're now to 466. The Qs are where I think could drop further today than the SPY. I think the SPY, you could still see some up move, or at least not as fast. I think Qs lead down. That's why it's talked about SQQQ for me on the playbook.
What did I do there? Where's my chart?
UPS dropping fast. Oh, yeah, it sometimes can do that. The manual and auto can help you with that if you want to fix it sometimes. On the right click, you see the manual and the auto there. So if you switch it back to auto and just click any time frame, it'll kind of fix the charts for you.
Gotcha. Perfect.
There you go. Nice lift off there in the VIX here, guys. I'm going to take some profits into this move because I think it could come right back there. And I'm just trying to take a good little $50 here. Let's see if I can take it through the 66.36 there. And then I'll look for a little pullback action here. Let's go ahead. Let's take the cash and run here. Boom. Just took the cash and run there, guys. Nice little trade there. $50 trade to start the day. 55. Not on 100 shares. Let's go. Let's get it. On the VIX, and that was as clean as it gets, guys. I'll show you guys that trade there, and I can even pull it up here so you guys can see it right from the platform itself. I'll switch my screen so we can fix it there. But look at that buy. Nice little buy on the VWAP. Sell it right there at the resistance.
Mama mia.
Not trying to get pretty.
I like it. I like it. So it looks like I'm going to get stopped out here a little bit. If it pops back to break even, I'll probably just take my money and get out. Otherwise, take a small loss here. No biggie.
What are we seeing? Pressure on the bulls out the gates here, guys. Pressure on the bulls. Look at that jump on the VIX now towards close to 67. So maybe sold it a little fast, but I'm trying to take morning cushions. That's the new thing for me. It's a style that I'm starting to adjust to. I'm starting to realize more and more I need to be able to take swings, but swings on only days where I have cushions. Bigger swings, right? Bigger positions. Waiting to build a cushion to take a bigger swing.
Yeah, so this is heavy here, no doubt about it. I'm watching gold. I might just back out of that too pretty quickly here. I'm trading with super small size because, like you said, I don't want to get over my skis early in the morning. I'd like to build a little bit of a cushion and see what happens there. So we swept the lows. I'm going to keep a watch for a pop up, and I'll probably look to short. But I think it still maybe is a little early, and it could be a little bit of shake and bake. So
now I'm looking for that quick pullback again, right? So we had one pullback. Let's see if we get the second pullback, or does the expansion? That's what I'm looking to see right now. Will we get the pullback back?
Looks like potential expansion. So I might take another scalp just down to the daily trigger, which I would expect us to engage with here. So keeping an eye on that. I did enter short, but very, very small. I kind of want it to pop up to build into a position here over the next 10-15 minutes.
SMCX looking interesting for me. It's been above the VWAP 1, 2, 3 times. Just rejected it. I'd like to see it go one more time, trying to break above the 2950s, and then fails, right? So it goes into this area, fails one more time, and then comes down, right? So that would include a trend line, a break attempt, and then failing. You see, it's going towards it right there. Docs love to go to the trend line. I almost assume trend line approaches, right? Then it's, how do I want to trade it on that trend line approach? Is this a breakout to the upside or a reversal to the downside? So you see right there, look at that. Look right into the box, right? Like, as clear as day. Now you look for what? Wicks here. Wicks to form and the body to close back below the trend line. That will show us what? Selling in that area, not buying in that area. It's essentially what they say, selling pressure, right? Qs lower there, guys. SQQQs was the move, man. Oh, man. These are those trades where, like, I look at the playbook a lot of times, guys. I'm determining the plays before, like, 7 a.m., which is very hard, guys. I'll tell you guys. It's very hard to determine plays at, like, 7 a.m. and trying to, like, maybe make calls down here. But look at the action in the SQQQ from that. That's almost 6%. From where I was looking at it this morning. And a lot of this, just GDP number coming in, recession concerns. Let me see. You know what? I told you guys, I would start to see those headlines of recession concerns on the media. And there it is. They're starting to talk about economy contraction. So get ready, guys. Get ready. The talking heads, they're going to be talking recession today.
Yep.
There's a rejection there. SMCX there rejected it to the key here, guys. I'm gonna take a shot here. Trying to get 20s, but I might be a little slow on the reaction there. I had to set up the share size there for a second.
All right, so I'm still riding this short down. I think we have a little bit further, another dollar on Qs to go. I'm watching that on my other screen, the 463. Oh, yep. So this is just the short here. I didn't get the extra ad. I will be looking to buy it back in just a little bit here. Got about 75 cents left on Qs before I'm gracefully exiting. And then I'll look for a pop and I'll keep shorting if it looks weak, but that's an area where I might see some reversion. I did add to my gold short as well, just because it was ripping on me and started to look like it was kind of mitigating the move after hours. So it popped all the way back to the same place that it closed and then showed some red candles there. So
ooh, the flush on UPS today is massive, guys. They're flushing that one. Oh, look at this thing. Oh, they said goodbye to those earnings. Forget those earnings.
All right, almost to my target here.
All right, guys, just saw SMCX reject that $20 spot there. That could be the bet for me here on the 20s. So I'm looking to see if it cuts down back below the 20 here, and then I can take the bet. If it doesn't cut the 20 again, it's a breakout on the upside. So that's why I'm waiting. I got to see it get that action here. There it goes. Cuts the 20 there. Now 1990s. 1999 on the bid. I'll take the 2003 on the bid here and risk right off the top of that candle to the left, the green candle, $60 risk, 2033s. Looking for this to cut back down towards the 19s. There it goes. Now back towards 1980s here. Let's see if we can start to cut this. Take another cushion trade, right? Another nice little scalp trade. Wouldn't be mad. If it gets down to the 1940s, just take the cash off and run here. I can also bring the stop to break even here just to protect for a squeeze back. And there's some of the squeeze back.
I just closed my short.
There it is.
And look at that. And big green candle. All right. So we're getting sharp here, boys. We're dialing in. We're dialing in. Base hits.
Yeah, SPY bouncing a little bit there in the 543s. It's been a quick little altitude drop there, guys. We're going really quickly towards the area that I talked about, that trend line approach, right? That towards 538s, 540s. We're well on our way. Well on our way, guys.
So I will be looking for a wick under this level and then a reclaim to potentially try along. But so far, heavy stuff. Looks like I got out a little early, but that's fine.
All right, looking to see what happens here to SMCX. I probably might get stopped out through the 2030s. If that happens, that's okay.
Yeah, all part of the game.
Yep, just part of it, man. We'll see what happens here. I think it's kind of one of those where if it rejects one more time, I'm golden, but it's a squeeze above here, so I don't want to be pressuring it. I'm
in a tiny nibble long, like half of even the 25 trades that I was, I was looking in because I'd like to scale in, but it looks like I may have caught it there. So we'll see if we get expansion up, and then we'll see if we get another entry that's a little safer, because this, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's like, I don't want to full size this.
Yeah, it looked like that run in the VXX was a little bit further than I thought, right? I sold it a little bit early, but that's okay. That was part of it. Now just to get in this pullback, we'll look to see what happens on the pullback. I'm looking for a deeper time frame pullback here. The SPY is getting a little bounce here, so watch for a little bounce now. As of course, with that open, yeah, you got some bulls to wash out. They didn't hold on to that action, I'm sure. So we'll see what happens now, guys.
All right.
Smaller names mentioned, JFBR, just to mention one of the smaller ones out there. Oh, the Jeff Brands one. I saw this one in the morning. UPS, still on the downside. Man, they're just flushing this thing.
That is gnarly. Ooh, no green candles allowed.
Yeah, no, that's an ugly look. Even the stock that I like SMR, starting to drop there. NVIDIA rejecting the VWAP there at the 105. We could see some more leak now come back in.
Yeah, and still heavy here on everything I'm watching.
Yeah, SPY not even coming back to the VWAP tells me something. It doesn't want to go back to the VWAP. Going back to the VWAP is going to let some of those bulls maybe release their positions, with less loss. So what could it be? It could just be a leak all day long, guys.
All right, getting a little bit of relief here.
Gold is trying to keep pushing here. I thought that was my concern. I want to get short long-term gold, but I just thought that there's a lot of people that thought they got the top of gold on that move. So it could put some pressure back to that look.
Absolutely could. Absolutely could. So I'm kind of banking on this being close to the bottom, just tagging that daily trend. Not saying we don't go lower today, but I'd just like to see a mean reversion, like you set up to VWAP. Yeah. So that is kind of the trade I'm looking for.
All right, let's go to the sectors
there, though. So we'll see. I'm looking at 465 on Qs.
This tells me something, guys. It's like you just see this. It's a sea of red, red right there, right? And it's not small. It's 3 or 4 sectors, 5 sectors over 1%. Utilities down 1.6%. So big flush in utilities. That's a big bar down on the 15 minutes, guys. Nextera Energy down 1.6%. So these energy names, like even GEV that I like, taking a big hit there. Big hit from 370s down to 350s. So seeing that big hit there in those energy names, also cyclicals, industrials, and financials taking a beating.
Absolutely. So gold is looking like it might be starting to crack here. That would maybe give a little bit of pressure on equities to go higher. I mean, it doesn't look like it on that chart, does it? So also that's going to be you got it.
I got you.
Just because there's some other factors for the audience, GOLD, the actual ticker is Barrick Gold, which is a gold miner. So they can have oh, look at that. That's a great one.
This is why I like using AU. AU is my indicator for momentum in gold. I literally will only look at AU.
I like that. Okay, I'm gonna start doing that.
It's a leading indicator.
They have a different dynamic, right?
It's a leading indicator, Steve. I'll tell you. And you will see it on the daily chart and compare it to like Barrick Gold. You'll see how it follows. It follows AU after some time. AU was the first one to kind of get these grinds, and I love looking at AU's chart. It's one of these where I realize like, hey, it's one of those swing vehicles that if you can catch the trend runs, this is great. This is just a trend rally. It just continues. It is a great trending vehicle. It trends also on the downside too. When it breaks, it has a tendency of long-term breaks. But when it goes up, it's a long ride up, long rides down with very little like volatility in between. Those are good swing vehicles, guys. So, and this is only can be done by time, right? That's the truth. It's the only way I've known that AU trades like that. I've traded AU. I've swung it before. Look at that. Straight up.
All right. So it looks like my long is working. We sniped the bottom there very cleanly. You can see I have, that's where I closed my short. That's where I entered first when I saw the jolt candle up. Then it came back and held this kind of bottom 2 candles area. So I added once more. Now it's cooking up. I want to take profit into, I'm actually going to move this down just into the pre-market lows. I think that gets retested there. I think it probably
area for the bounce.
Little gap.
Yeah, good area for a bounce right here.
So yeah, I'm keeping an eye. I don't want to get too greedy now, because these are mean reversion trades and it's just base hits. Like I said, I'm up $20. I'm nothing crazy. Not risking enough to be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm actually seeing a little bit of resistance here. So I might just take half off and just sleep easy at night here, so to speak. I want to see one more little pop first.
Yeah, I think we can get towards the 5150s on the TQQQ. I'm looking at TQQQ and looking at that to see if it gets back towards the support and a rejection from support, right? So I'm looking for essentially that opening breakdown that we saw. Can we get back to that level and then reject it?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're watching the same thing. And look, there's a nice little pop. I'd like to see it sustained. Maybe I should have taken it off there. So finger on the trigger on half of my size.
Looking for one more pop into that. And then I think we could see a little decline there.
Little bloody nose here.
It's just sideways right now. Essentially, the 2 candles, 1 minute's right on top of each other right here. I think it's trying to get, at least for the TQQs, to touch that 51. A lot of people went long on that turn because it was a resistance.
Yeah, I could see that. Great call, great read. So we got on the 1 minute chart on my other screen. I don't have my indicator set up on Trade the
No
Pool yet.
worries, no worries. We'll get this set up. We're gonna get this. I'm gonna get Steve a stream deck so he can just click on a button and it'll switch the screen for him. So we
Ooh,
got
that'll
this.
be nice.
We're gonna get this set up. We're gonna get this set up nice. Don't worry.
Let's see. Until then, I will just say that I see a curling 9 EMA on the 1 minute that it's trying to catch right now. It's battling with my 1 minute trigger, which is right where we tagged into. I should have trusted that indicator, but we're cooking. We're okay here. We got some wiggle room. I will not let this go red. So let me.
Yeah, VXX trying to do a recovery of 9 EMA here. I don't trust it myself, so that's why I'm not going long it again. But it is trying to recover the 9 EMA. There's that 51 test on the TQQQ, and I see some buying coming in here in the 90s. So let's see if it can hold at least a 90 spot here on this pullback.
A little imbalance. I'm tempted to add, but I'm gonna temper that because that'll move my cost basis up and give me less room to kind of work with here.
Yeah, this was one of those days where you know the best trades were made off of the look on the morning. Microsoft also rejecting the VWAP there just tells me more and more. Right, they're trying to flush these big boys maybe today early, and then try to pick it up later in the afternoon.
Yeah, definitely possible. We could see a nice double bottom forming if it scoops the lows. All right, I like this, but it still is sideways here.
Yeah,
so
still struggling a little bit there on the Qs. Also, I'm watching the TQQQ, but it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. It's just more different levels. But the 9 EMA not wanting to hold there is interesting. It comes right back to the 945 low. It could be that wash. So we'll see what happens here, guys.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hop out here, take a small win, very small, and I'm just gonna reevaluate here in a few minutes. Here, I should have taken that pop, but live and learn.
Okay, that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look around, see what else I'm seeing.
SMCX just probably came down too far. It did do a nice little bounce back towards 15-minute support and rejected that area around 21. So we'll see if it comes right back down. But just mentioning that one. Looking around out there, guys, if you guys got a ticker you guys want to talk about, or a trade, your sector, industry, whatever it is, guys, throw it up in the chat. I'll keep watching the scanners here. I'm watching the 10-minute change to see if any sector can go into the green. Healthcare is the closest in energy, but it ain't far. Defensive also trying to turn green, which wouldn't be a good sign. But if you look at the staples, this doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not looking pretty today, guys.
I'm watching Nvidia losing a level that I think it should probably have held if we're going to catch a little. So I just took a little bit of exposure in success. Again, I'm playing super small here.
Yeah, that 105 cut.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, the 105 exactly. So I think that it wants to sweep lower.
Yeah, spy on the lows here.
If it pops up to VWAP, I think I'd probably add, but I will respect a potential double bottom on Qs if they show me that. I'm not seeing it so far.
It's a leak type of day, guys. The VIX right back up, recovered that 9 and shooting right back up to the top end there, guys. So definitely, I had a really good buy earlier. Probably just sold it a little early on this. I was expecting some type of pullback. We haven't gotten it.
Yeah.
SQQQ to 33.38, but pretty much not moving now, guys. And so this is where I start to feel like, yeah, we could get a little bit of a pullback.
I am open to a catch here. I just don't really believe in it yet.
I don't want to let them in.
Yeah, set the trap. Lay the trap. Okay.
Yeah, now
up here.
now reversal coming in a little bit here.
So on the engulfing 1 minute on Qs, I just took a hedge just in case we go crazy. I still am net short a little bit. I want to add on to some SOX S if we get a VWAP rejection.
Pullbacks coming in around there. Now let's see if the Qs can bounce here. I'm watching the Qs more than the SPY. I feel like it's just part of it today.
No, I'm with you there.
It's just the tech earnings, really, guys. Playing games with those tech earnings. I see this all the time where it's just like, it makes it easier for the institutions to make money. That's just what it is, guys. It's stuffing the little guy today.
Exactly. I added to my success on NVIDIA's VWAP tap and rejection there. Just hedging my new hedge. And
look at the Qs. There it is.
Yeah.
The test down again. Microsoft going for the lows. Apple rejecting the VWAP. NVIDIA rejecting that 105 above. Now starting to come right back down there.
Wowie.
I might go for another SMCX here, try to make my money back here. Let's see what happens. See if this can reject again.
Yeah, that looks violent. Ugly wash here. Ugly wash. We are a little bit oversold on Qs, so I'm going to add to my hedge there. I'm still net short.
Should have been short Tesla today. That thing is on the flush.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, it's getting the flush, man. I wanted to take a look to see if the Bitcoin trade would trade with the market today, and look at it go. Right back in correlation, guys. Right back into correlation. All those decorrelation, all that yelling. Guess what? You let the institutions in. What you think was going to happen?
Yeah, just about.
Guys, I'm a biggest fan of that whole mentality of, well, we had something that the big boys and the rich didn't. Well, guess what? That changed when we started to let these ETFs and all that happen. Bitcoin isn't the hiding spot anymore, guys. It's the spot where money is, just like it's in the markets. It's kind of a sad thing, I think, really. I think
it's a bummer.
I don't know if you're like me, Steve. I feel like it's a bummer in the long run, because the way to really show it to these big boys would have been to almost not even allow them to get in on this action with these kind of ETFs and stuff like that. And I've mentioned it. I think it's part of the big boys' strategy now. They're including it in their portfolios. And when that happens, when that adjustment happens, when big money is a part of something, the dynamics change.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's a weird dynamic for sure. It's hard to kind of I don't know how you would stop them. You know, it's just like they're gonna.
That's the problem. That's the problem. And that was the whole look before, when they were calling it a Ponzi scheme and all that. That's the moments when we needed to go ahead and do our own MSTR and just start piling this. That was the moment. Now it's kind of late. I really do think it's late, and it's hard. It's hard to be late a part of something and want like success, but it's like buying NFTs at their highest, right? So like there was a time when people were buying, which one, whatever one you want to think of. Maybe it's the punks, right? For close to like hundreds and hundreds, millions of dollars. I mean, ridiculous, guys. And that's just what it's about, man. I think in this case, Bitcoin's a hard bet now.
Yeah. So I'm seeing some buying happening. I'm getting out of my short. I'm letting the long cook.
Yeah. So one of the things, remember, the way that I look at it, a lot of times I look for waves. What are we seeing here, guys? Let's go to the 15-minute. What are we seeing, right? We've seen pretty much that opening breakdown that happened in the morning, right? That was that first break of support, first wave. We got a second wave. We're on the third wave. we could start seeing wicks below this 15 and reversals coming back. So the 15 is 462.47.
Yeah.
462.47. And what do you get right after that? A 43 wick, right? So reversals coming in right now. Let's see if it can test the 463.
Mitch, I mean, they don't call you Money Mitch for nothing. You said the half-hour flip. I said, I'm watching it too. And look at this. We got out of our shorts, or I got out of my short at the perfect time. My long is now nice and green, and I got a safe entry on what's considered a failed breakdown. So it tried to push lower through a major level. It reversed at an hourly time there. And now I'm just going to hang out and let this thing cook a little bit, because I think we're going to pop up and get to that.
It's not even giving me the chance to jump in it. I'm trying to long the TQQQ, but there's no pullback. It's just offer.
Yeah, these moves can be tough to catch if you're not just finger on the trigger waiting. So I was getting dragged a little bit, but then
and today's one of those days, Steve, where I'm seeing it as clear as day. And as long as I don't touch this keyboard, I might continue seeing it clear, guys.
Oh man, I feel that one. I feel that.
You know what I'm talking about, Steve? Absolutely. Like there's days where you're just like, man, I'm a market wizard. Watch out there, Mitch. Watch out. Clip it, guys. Clip it. Send it to me later today.
That's funny.
I like to have fun, guys. 10 o'clock data coming in here. Also a little shift there. Let's see what we got on the calendar for the 10 o'clock. I didn't see too much for 10 o'clock, but I'll go looking, guys. Of course, I got you. Let's take a look here. Let's see what we're getting out there. All right, guys, PCE came in there at month over month at 0.0 for the zero estimate PCE price index. Year over year, 2.3 versus 2.2 estimate. That's about the only one that you can look for the positive in. Well, actually, this is the positive number. If there's one number here that could get the push, personal spending up 0.7 versus a 0.6 estimate, prior being 0.5. So what does that show you? Well, that could be the caveat for people arguing, saying that the consumer is not slowing down if there's personal spending going higher, right? So we'll see what happens there. Let's keep pushing. Steph, you enjoying it?
I'm looking to get a foothold in Bitcoin, BitX here too. It's pretty rippy though, so it's gonna be tough.
All right, I'm looking for a little test here on the bulls. Can I get a little pullback here? Man, Microsoft's just been on the leak, man. Barely no bounce in that. That's a scary sign for me. That tells me more and more we might not want to come back to the VWAP here. It might be an afternoon comeback, right? Doesn't mean that has to happen at 10 a.m. We got the attempt. That always happens. We get attempts all the time, right?
No doubt. All right.
Pending home sales. Pending home sales up pretty good amount. I don't know who the hell is buying a house in this environment, but
I took a little stab on BitX there, but size and small, stops under low a day.
Can't blame you.
I think we're just seeing some shake and bake, giving him a chance to get in if we're going to reverse, but it's yet to prove itself either way.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on GLD. That's pulled back to the VWAP. That's looking interesting for me. If we could reverse back into the same direction, a fade for the day, GLD long could be a way here to kind of play in here. If I wanted to do that, I could also just go JNUG. Right?
Yeah.
You know, if I wanted to do that, I could do the leverage here.
So Qs are acting right here. Bitcoin's lagging a little bit. That's interesting, but I think that we are starting to see bottoming action.
All right. What's the 3x one? There's the 3x one, right?
I know for the downside, it's for miners, it's GDXD. I'm not sure what the upside is. As you can tell, I've been a gold bear recently. It's not been an easy trade, but I've eked out little wins and a little loss yesterday, actually. But
all right, GDXD. One way to play this, right? We'll see. This would be a fade, right? I'd have to fade that, but I just don't like that one because it's like a 10-point win, right? Like a 10-cent win. I would rather probably just go with the AU. Or probably the GLD.
Yeah, totally fair. I'm just short GLD right now, just hanging out in that, a little bit green, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm looking at, right? You're gonna just now watch those opener buyers, right? Those openers, right? The people that buy the open. Well, let's watch them a little bit. Come to this support back towards 304.04. I'm gonna look for a double bottom there. See if the market starts to come back down. We'll see.
All right, Qs are looking like they want to go to me. So
Okay.
we'll see. We got the double bottom in. We got it off a major level of support. I think we just came down too much too fast. I'm still bearish, Mitch, but I'll take a little mean reversion.
Yeah, there's no reason why it shouldn't come back to VWAP at some point. When I usually get scared is when it doesn't come back to VWAP. Yeah. That's when it's like, holy moly, they're trying to take us down today. SPY does this on the upside too, right? There's sometimes where it just tap, tap, tap to the upside, tap, 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 9 EMA pullback, tap, 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 keeps going, and you're like, it has to turn around sometime. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Don't forget that.
Absolutely.
Nothing has to happen in trading. I'll tell you that right now.
And the more you think it does, the more you might be exit liquidity.
Take that out, man. That's why I tell everybody, like, at the end of the day, trading is gambling, guys. Regardless if you have a strategy or not, it's gambling. You just got to be an educated gambler.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Not a degenerate, not a parlay only kind of guy.
Absolutely.
You can't just buy lottos every day and expect to win in the market, right, guys? Like, that's just not the way it works, guys.
Yeah, if especially with all the 0 DTE action, you know, like those are 10% spreads. You are losing if you're just doing that every day without an edge, you know, like the market maker is the one who's really winning here.
The options traders, they won't get it, man. They think they're winning out there because they see 30% winners, but call me on those losers, man.
Yeah, we don't talk about all the 100% losers, which is great, or which is why it's great to limit your risk with trade the pool here, you know?
Yeah, and limit the downside, right? And my thing is, what happens when you don't get those fills on those option contracts? They don't talk about those, right? They don't talk about the ones where there's no one buying your contract anymore.
Take my trash, please. Someone take my trash.
That's where I realized really early, guys. I took a class on derivatives. It was specifically in my senior year in college, and I was like, yeah, this is where it's at, man. Derivatives, let's go, right? I learned how to price options. I learned how to understand the Greeks and really understand the theta decay. I was even taking options pricing models and learning about that, right? And going deeper in that. But what did I learn? I learned really quickly how quickly the option game changes. Even from a professor that's been around for countless times looking into this, he said the true fact there is that in options you're battling with more than just the market, and that's where that's where the difference is, I think, between stocks and option trading is. With stocks, you're only battling with the market, right? In the options, you're battling the people that write the contracts and the market.
No doubt, no doubt. So Qs are acting right. Bitcoin's lagging, so I will add to my Bitcoin.
Connor, I can't blame you either. Gotta love a good old lotto, though.
It's fun. It's fun. What can you say?
Here's the TQQ. Good call, my friend, on the comeback there. Now we're getting that comeback here. Now the question is, will we get a VWAP rejection? I'm looking for it now, guys. I'm going to be going for it with the GLD. Look at the GLD starting to get stronger here. I need a pullback on the GLD, though. I wanted to pull back some here. I'm not trying to play it on the highs of the 305 break. I need an attempt here back towards the lows. So what do I talk about a lot of the times? The strategy that I talk about, a VWAP undercut 3 times and then a bullish engulfing candle. So 1, 2, 3 cut downs, right? So I'm going to look for one more attempt towards that level, it not break those bottoms, and then create a bullish engulfing look. That's the strategy, and then the upside trigger.
So I took 1/3 of my Qs off here just to give myself a nice cushion. My entry is 5. Let me zoom in a little. Well, at least let me center it for you. So I got in here and here, and why is it showing my cost base? Oh. I'm confused. Oh, I think I started a position here. I added here and here, right? Because I was hedging with the S or the SOX S, so that was keeping me safe. I sold SOX S down here, and then I just trimmed that because I'm just not sure. I saw it sweeping this high, and I just want to lock in a little bit there just in case.
One of the ways that you can do it, Steve, is also for the chart is on the tab where it has like the name. There's the full screen mode. I suggest like you can just click that, and then you'll go full screen on the chart real quick.
Is that right here? Full screen mode. Ah, what did I do? Oh no! I think I have to link that window. But I see what you're saying. Cool.
Yeah, so yeah. That's one way that I do it, so that I can get into the chart real quick, and then it'll have exit mode on the top that you can just click, and then it puts it right back to where it was.
Oh, you're saying that? I can't find it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, wherever your chart went to.
We found it. We figured it out. All right.
Yeah, so I do the same thing with the detach, and then just pull it to a window.
Gotcha. So Bitcoin is lagging. I got to keep an eye on that. I might have to admit that I'm wrong there. I might just want it to be right, but everything else is looking all right. I'm really happy with my Qs trading this morning. Took a little scalp long, got long here, took it off there, stopped out of the remainder here. Got long here, added here, just little baby wins. I'm happy with that. If I don't really have a strong read, I'll take base hits all day long.
Hendrix here trying to fat finger things. I'm like, dude, get off the keyboard. People don't believe me, but this guy's put me in positions before.
Is that, you said Hendrix? Is that a cat?
Yeah, he's right here hanging out.
I don't know if that was your child or your.
No. I wasn't allowed to call my child Hendrix, so here he is. Look at him.
Oh, what a face.
Tabby.
Oh, he's cutie.
He's a good cat. You see, other cats would scratch your face if you did this.
Yeah,
he's learn, guys.
He has autonomy. He's expressing discontent, but he's like, I'll let you have this.
Only I'm allowed to grab him like that. Anybody else, and he'll get upset.
That's too funny. There's big volume on Bitcoin. It is rejecting the volume, so up to this point. So I'm keeping an eye on that. But that, we're one candle into the volume, so I want to see how that plays out before I cut my trade at low day there.
All right, catching up with the chat. What are you guys looking out there, chat? What are you guys watching? Let me know. All right, we can start the conversation about AI and developers in a second here. We'll wait for the market to slow down a little bit here, and I'll probably take a trade. But I did want to talk about that. I think it's a great conversation to talk about. And it's going to be a great way for you guys to maybe take a bet and a trade idea, like Steve mentioned, about software names in the long run. There's big developments that are happening here. What I think that is important too is that whenever you're reading story about a theme style trade, it's all about timing. Don't forget that. It's not about that it needs to happen today. Just like I love and will always think about lithium as being a big mover eventually. When does that happen? Nobody knows. But it's a material that's in such need for the long run. And I think that at the long run, you keep that in your back of your head. The same way gold was on this run. For a long time, everyone knew that gold would eventually have a move. The question was when, right? And that's what it's always about. It's about timing when you're thinking trade ideas. And so you create watch lists and you get ready. They call them shopping lists. That's what a lot of traders will call them. But the truth is, you need to have them all ready to go when the trade happens. So that's why you need to do the pre-work and be ready to go and ready to make action happen and knowing the themes.
All right, we're about to tag VWAP. I'm about to get out of another third of my trade. Okay, I just tagged it. Perfect. So I don't have to do it manually. Love to see it. I'm gonna let a third cook. I think we could see some expansion upwards. In Bitcoin, we are seeing some follow through. My entries were not good on Bitcoin. The spread's too wide on BITX, so I think in the future I will just be trading regular IBIT in size just to avoid the spread jump there, because I was like, I got to get in, and then I top ticked it basically and had to ride through a little discomfort before now I'm break even on here. But I got a nice cushion on my other positions, up 65, $70 on the day. So we're going to just hang out here. I might just take my Qs off at VWAP if it looks weak, but it doesn't look weak yet. So
I'm looking for the pullback in the GLD. I'm not getting it here, guys. No pullback on that 305 break right here. I think this is the trap. That's why I'm trying to avoid it. But I'm looking for the pullback towards 304.60s here. off of the 305 break. So what does that do? That triggers longs there at 305s. Now I want to see them get the stop and then the market come back in, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. SPY rejecting the VWAP. I actually want to see SPY make an attempt towards 545.50s. So that's going to be closer towards where the wick action was out the gates, which was 545.50 on that first kind of dip that we saw in the market. So let's see if we can get back to that level first, then see the rejection come in. So a slight move above VWAP and then the rejection coming in.
Yeah, that 467 looks really nice. Let me switch screens here.
GLD trying to make the move at that 305. I'm waiting. I'm not going to buy the 305, even though I love Miami. Haha. All right, so guys.
There it is.
Interesting day. I'll tell you one thing, guys. I'm down $15, but having fun. Hope you guys are having fun with this.
So I'm going to just get a little placeholder in SQQQ in case we get, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be patient because I was just talking about how I'd like to see that wick up, clearing these wicks like you talked about. We also have this 5-minute trigger here that I'd like to see tagged and show that kind of that falling resistance. I'd like to see that respected. And Bitcoin's looking constructive, so that's my long right now. Qs are a little extended. I will be getting a short at some point, either to hedge the Bitcoin if that starts reversing on me, or just in case this, ends up hard rejecting VWAP here. But so far, I want to let it breathe a little bit and not get too antsy. Although, hey,
all right, I'm getting antsy here, guys. I just took a long on the VXX there off the VWAP. It was just bounced off the VWAP there. It was kind of too pretty of a bounce there for me to reject getting into here. And what do I mean by that is that sometimes when we go to VWAP, we kind of go sideways there versus like a slight tick and then right back up. And we actually did the right back up move. So you can see it here on the one, like just a slight tick there and right back up. So that's why I jumped on it. Just the momentum here. So what do I want to do? I want to have a short kind of risk here. Just slightly below VWAP at 66.73s, looking for this to run back to the top or get me out for a $20 loss. Nothing on the risk. Just potentially seeing if it goes in direction, because I don't want to miss the GLD trade, even though it's hanging out above 305. I said I'm not going to buy that, but I will buy something that just tapped VWAP. So we'll see what happens here, and if the SPY can come right back down, right? So there it is coming down. The Qs are more important to me. Look how the Qs went back above that VWAP, kind of more of that look that I talked about for the SPY, that we're getting it on the Qs. So now I'll look for what they call the VWAP rejection play, which is essentially 3 attempts to break a trend line above VWAP and then a rejection back down. So it's a VWAP kind of reversion trade that fails at VWAP. And how does it fail? It's usually a flag or a pennant pattern right at VWAP.
I see. I think I think my VWAP is tracking pre-market moves, maybe, or I'm trying to figure out why ours are a little bit different. Mine just tagged on the top candle on the swing high.
Yeah, so it depends. I mean, it's all the platform that you have and how it's calculating VWAP. VWAPs can be slightly off, man. Like I can say on this specific chart, right? I'm looking at the Qs 1 minute, and on my Trader Evolution, I have the VWAP at the VWAPs right now at 465.38, and then I have VWAP here at 465.66.
Interesting. And oh wow, look at that candle.
So you just show the difference there in VWAP. It's all about how your program calculates VWAP. It's about data in the morning. I say I trust TC over anything. Is the reason why I use it, guys.
Nice.
They don't like me so much, but I don't know what it is. We're not gonna talk about that.
I don't know how anybody couldn't like you, Mitch. You're just good vibes all day. I love it,
dude. I don't know, man. They were upset with me. They were upset with me doing education, I guess. But we could talk about that off stream. But I was like, dude, I'm giving you guys good names out there, and you guys are hating on me. How does this work? But Derek is asking a great question here in the chat. What's going on with the webinar today? What's going on? Are we having a webinar, Steve?
Well, let me tell you, Derek, it is not. What is it today? Wednesday. This is just my. I'm just filling in for Michael.
This guy can't even wait till Thursday. He needs you today, Steve.
Well, I love it. You'll get me tomorrow. You'll get me tomorrow, 45 minutes after bell. Sometimes a few minutes early, but I say 3:45 just because sometimes they keep me a little longer on Trader TV. You can catch me there 15 minutes after the bell, and we're gonna have some fun. We are going to be talking about Fibonacci ratios, how to trade them, some of the most important Fibonacci levels that you don't hear talked about as much,
Yeah.
and it's some good stuff. We'll have some fun. So I appreciate your interest there.
Awesome.
Whenever
Love to hear it. And definitely, guys, stay tuned. We'll give you guys more information about that tomorrow. And of course, look towards the links being released tomorrow so that you guys can tune in on that. And catch my man on Trader TV. We need to go ahead and take it over there. And as soon as you get there, throw up a trade the pool in the chat just so they can know that you're there. Just so they know that we're taking over, guys.
Oh, they love us. They love us. And we love them. But I hear nothing about great things about Michael and Mitch every single time I go on. So it's good vibes.
They're good. They have fun, and I have fun with them all the time. So
I love their I love all of the graphics they pop up when I make a cheesy joke.
Of course.
Bam on the screen. It's so good.
Yeah. I love the jokes too and the graphics too, man. We got to step it up, man. It's tough for me to be the producer and at the same time be the trader.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're doing great. Yeah, you're a man with many hats. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's jumping.
We're gonna take it to the next level. We got this, guys.
So the Bitcoin trade.
We don't make excuses. We find things. We find solutions, guys.
Absolutely. Bitcoin trade's starting to work. Qs are starting to fade a little bit. So I'm watching that potential decoupling.
Yeah. I got out of the VXX, but I'm still looking to maybe jump right back into this in a second here.
Yeah, I'd like to see those high swept that you mentioned. That's what I'm curious about waiting for. I do have a hedge in, but it's not big. It's a quarter of the size of my Bitcoin longs, which are now working nicely.
Yeah, the SPY went right to the area that I was talking about, that 545.50. I'm telling you, I got to stop hitting the keyboard, guys.
Let Hendrix trade for you real quick.
Yeah, I might need to, man.
I'm adding a little bit of SQ again, just because we're over VWAP and I got my longs cooking. So, I'm happy with getting an equal ratio trade 1-to-1 here and just letting things play out till I have a better read, till we either break pre-market highs and confirm that or plunge back into the depths of hell. Either way, we're here for it.
Either way,
we see.
I'm taking another shot on the VXX here, guys. We'll see what happens to see if the Qs can start to crumble here. Let's go. It's long 200 shares there, 66.85s now towards 67 here. Let's see if we can break the 67, really start to climb back here on the VXX. So you guys see it there, clear as day on the chart. Let's see what happens now. GLD didn't want to come back for me, man. So we'll see if I can get a comeback on that one. That one's just continuing to climb there. It did kind of give this little pullback there, but it was really tight to maybe take the risk and return on that. I wanted it back closer towards the 304.50s so that I could risk on the 304s versus risking on like 10-cent risk there. So we'll see what happens. SPY is a big watch for me right here on this 545.50s. Remember what I talked about the VWAP reject? It's 3 attempts and then the 4th failing. So 1, 2, 3. Now we're really kind of establishing the resistance zone. Now I want to see on the pullback, do we take the level that we established right here? So you see how I'm going to look to see what happens here on this pullback. If it goes back through, let's say 546, we could just start lifting back, right? So that's going to be the level that will give me a sign that, hey, this rally has a little bit more. SPY's up there, 546, almost there, 545, 80s. We'll see if it slows down here.
This is my 5-minute trigger at 467 on Qs. So I'm keeping an eye on a little bit of a pop above that. I will add a little bit more SQQQ because I've got a 3-to-1 exposure long through Bitcoin right now. And then just a little bit of that SQQQ. So that's kind of my trade plan here. We just tagged it. I want to see a sweep of the pre-market highs or a rejection before. Either way, I want it to show that maybe there's some sellers that'll step back in here. Otherwise, it could be, like we mentioned before, off the lows, failed breakdown. I'm proud of this. We caught that within 1 minute of it playing out, and then we caught the big move up. So
All right, now 9 EMA VWAP's holding here on this pullback is important for the bulls. So on this pullback, what I look for is a VWAP hold. If it closes above VWAP, that can give the bulls a chance to really take it back through that 546 and 547.
Yeah.
So let's see if the pressure gets put on them back towards the 545, 20s, and 545 here. All right, guys. In a few, we'll be joined by none other than Garage Day Trader joining us on the show. So looking forward to getting some more trading action on here. He'll be on in just a little bit at 10:30. So hit the like button, guys, out there. And yeah, Derek, we're always on Trader TV multiple times. I know Michael even does a couple appearances. I'm on Tuesdays at 8:45. And then you got my man Steve on in the afternoons. And I love it. I love that we all get a chance to get out there, give some opinions. And I know they love it out there. We've been really good at kind of giving our market perspective, whether it be Michael, myself, or Steve. I think it's an important one to do. And like always, catch those webinars on Thursdays. They're really great. And they're after hours, right? So you don't have to worry about being in the trading hours.
Yeah, and you can always watch the VOD, but I really encourage people to come and check it out live because I answer all the questions I can. Every time we have a Q&A session, we get a lot of really good engagement. And it's, I think some of the best dialogue is actually after the webinar when I get to, see what people resonated with and what I can explain better. And we can really kind of get into whatever helps people the most in any given day. So it's a good time for sure.
SPY holding in well there, guys. So let's see what happens here now. 546.14. You're starting to climb there. Let's see if there's any altitude change here. But definitely that 10 a.m. bottoming still holding in here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm watching pre-market highs and cash session highs right at that swing there. And I'm expecting some sellers to step in. But, I could be very wrong and we could get a face ripper up because this does look like algorithmic buying off the bottom. I would be more inclined to just take a little fade, not even shoot for the lows, and just kind of look for a spot to potentially long. But I got my long exposure with Bitcoin. I think it'll outperform. That's my plan, and I'm sticking to it here.
Yeah. The BitO.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I hear a lot of fund managers, they'll go and admit now. They're like, yeah, I have Bitcoin exposure. And they're like, but I don't have Bitcoin. I have BitO. I'm like, one of those.
You don't hold it in your hands.
One of those.
You're the problem. Yeah, so we're back at VWAP here. We're back at the 5-minute trigger, like I mentioned. It's a good potential place to try a fade. Not saying
Tesla back at VWAP.
It, but
see what happens.
I'm adding in a little bit more exposure on SQQQ here.
I'm hanging in on the VXX, guys. I see now about 3 bottomings. I'm looking for that 4th bottoming and that bullish engulfing candle look back to the upside. See what happens there on the VXX. So I want to see kind of a little wick here and then that bullish engulfing candle come back through kind of the 66, 75s. But we're not looking too bad there. That's why I'm hanging in. Let's see what happens now. All right. And I think with our guests, we're going to bring on that developers talk. I think it's something that we could talk about and have a little conversation. But I'm interested in hearing what kind of trades, of course, Garage Day Trader has on today. And he does a lot of interesting trades that I think will be really cool for you traders out there, especially you guys also that like those kind of like pump and dumps, right? He takes a good shot on a lot of those, and I've seen him make some really good short calls on those. So definitely excited to have him on today. We'll take a look at the market action. If you guys see anything big moving, or Steve, you see anything, definitely mention it. We'll talk about it. I'll continue to see what happens in the market if we continue to just keep climbing back. But all right, that's enough of my conversation there. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on our guest today, Justin, Garage Day Trader. What's going on? How are we doing, my friend?
Oh, good, Mitch. How you doing? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you perfect, man. Taking a look at the trading action. I feel like today's one of those classic days where I talk about a quote that the market likes to hurt where it can hurt the most. And I think in this case, it clearly is doing a little bit of the stuffing of the bulls today, as I know the bulls were out there singing in the streets. especially with deal talk that has been happening. And I know the Bears have been feeling the pressure with that deal talk, right? I mean, if you're a bear with a big position on, you hear those deal talk conversations, I'm sure it has to put a little worry in your thesis. So how have you been seeing the market, Justin?
Yeah, well, I mean, the market overall is so subject right now to, anytime there's any kind of tariff related news, even if it's just a rumor and no one actually has any idea what's going on. If all of a sudden we're talking with China and things jump 5%, and then, day or two later it comes out, well, we weren't really talking to China, and then it drops right back down. So, it's kind of the emotions of trading there, where people, that fear, panic, hope, excitement cycle that you go through is on full display right now in the market.
Yeah, I know how that is. And I talk about it. Sometimes people say that we're in the age of information. I actually disagree. I think we're in the age of disinformation, where information is just put out there and we don't know if it's true or not, right? And that's the hard part. Just like, let's say, like the Amazon thing yesterday, right? Amazon with the tariffs price added. And then all of a sudden, now it's that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
More likely it was going to happen, and then once everyone reacted to it, they were like, just kidding.
When that phone rang,
Yep.
you know how it is. That phone rings, and you don't feel so powerful anymore when the president is on the other line. And that's just how it goes, guys. So we'll see what happens. How's the trading action going today with you?
I got one in today, with everything being predominantly down today. There hasn't been nearly as many of the big pops that I generally look for. There were two stocks that really made the moves today. I actually missed the first one twice, and they were both, penny junk stocks that I like to get sometimes. But the first one was ABVE, Above Food Ingredients. They've run up about 100% or so in the last 4 days. And then they had another big pop this morning that I actually tried twice to get in on, and missed both fills. So completely missed ABVE this morning, but you can see, it popped up nicely there, almost up to $2. And if you look at the daily chart, it's been kind of making a big run here recently. So, this one was my miss of the day for sure, because that one would have been a real nice winner. I tried to get 2,000 shares in on both the initial pop and then the secondary pop there, but sometimes you just don't get the fills, and that's how it goes. But I did get one in on CNF, which is just a finance holdings stock, which is even a lower price penny stock. But this was in the 80-90 cent range. It actually popped up this morning, and I got in right before a halt at about 9:47. I got in there, waited through the halt, and then once it came out, dumped a little bit slowly, but it did eventually come down for me from there. So that one actually turned out pretty nicely.
Yeah, I like it. How do you base your levels of where you're going after? Is it based on specific resistance? Is it an indicator? How do you go about choosing where your level is, where you're looking to short?
Yeah, so the first thing, I always get an alert from the scanner that I use, and then from there it's like a combination of things. Really, it's a combination of the range of the move of the candles when it's in the intense extension. So that's kind of giving me an idea of my risk parameters for my sizing is based on the range of the move, because now something like 80 cents obviously is going to be very low range compared to something like Tesla, but I'll trade, everything in between as well. It just kind of, that depends on my sharing size. But for CNF this morning, I was looking at it, and I was looking at the daily chart, and even though it's popping up, almost 50% on this move, that 50% is only 50 cents or so, with a ton of resistance overhead on the daily chart up towards $1, the 200 moving average a little bit higher than that, up at $1.05-ish, $1.10-ish, somewhere in that range. So I was getting my initial position started as it was hitting the 90 cent mark, with plans to add in as it went through $1 from there.
Yeah, I love these plays, and especially for those traders out here on Trade the Pool, that we can get short on these names without having to worry about the borrow fee and things like that. So definitely something that we can definitely look into. Traders out there, you guys can check out Garage's Day Trader. I'll be throwing up his YouTube so you guys can see him in action, take these style of trades, and that's what it's all about. I think it's about finding something that you can repeat, right? And I know that you've been doing these types of trades for a while now. And how long did it take for you to kind of switch towards more the shorting of these instead of the longings? Do you still take some longs on these high flyers?
Yeah, I still take
How do you feel?
longs, but our general like saying is shorts take shorter, longs take longer. And
Okay.
I'm a very impatient person by nature. So that's kind of how I got into this style of trading, because I would rather be done quickly than sit all day and let my emotions just slowly build up as it goes
Yeah.
and kind of go from there. So I found this style that is much more, instead of trying to adapt myself to a style of trading, I found a style of trading that I could adapt to myself. Because one of the things I say all the time on my channel is there's 1,000 different ways that you can make money in the market, and the only one that's right is the one that works for you and the one that you can make profitable. So a lot of people, they'll see my style or they'll see a different style and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, how can you do that? You can't do that because your loser could be 10x your winner or something like that." And it's like, well, yes, but have you thought about the math behind it? Have you thought about how it works? What did the numbers say behind your trading style? Are you just sticking with it because this is what you initially learned and thought was right? Or are you actually looking at the numbers behind what you're doing in your trading and it's proving that it's working for you?
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of got into this. I've been into this style for several years now. I've always been more interested in shorting than longing overall, just because I don't know. I think there's something emotional wise of when something starts getting hammered to the downside, all that fear kicks in and you can just see those big drop offs. And when you're short into one of those big drop offs, it's a good time.
Yeah, Dustin, those shorts just hit different, right? When you're making money on
Yeah.
the downside, it's something to be said for that. I definitely resonate with what you're saying there.
They
Yeah,
definitely
and it
do.
works on the long side. It just generally, in my experience, takes a little bit longer. You got to be more patient with it. So I don't do them as much because, like I said, I'm not a patient person. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I know how that can go. And I think that's important. I think that, it's also with time, right? I think the experience has shown you more and more that the probability of these pops lasting are slim, right?
yeah.
You're going to get maybe a couple of stocks a year that can continue that type of parabolic ride up.
Hmm.
But the majority of them are going to be coming crashing back down. And so it's just how do you go about it, right? How can you play it with your personality? And I love how you add that in because I think it's important, right? I think you just have to find what works for you and your style of trading. What doesn't make you feel so uncomfortable, right?
Mm.
Some traders couldn't ever short a stock before
Yep.
potential halt, right? They would go through that halt and they would literally be eating at themselves, wondering where the price is going to be when it opens. But in some cases, all you can do is what? You're focusing on risk to return. And that's what matters to you. So that way you're not freaking out when you go into a halt. If anything, that coming out of halts, a lot of times we get quick dips, right? We get
Yep.
these quick dips right back down. It's the liquidity issue where there's no liquidity there. So the market maker just gets that volume and then tries to make that move back. But then the buying needs to really come in. And sometimes the buying just doesn't come back in on these names after the first halt. Next thing you know, all day faders. And I'm sure you've caught plenty of these all day fades. And those are really the ones that can make us the money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
When
those
you're
are
just
great.
sitting there generally with those, I'll just have a little bit of shares left over that, at that point, I don't really care what happens with them because I've already made money on the trade, but now I'm able to just sit there and watch the numbers slowly tick up throughout the rest of
Yeah.
the day with whatever I've left on.
And it could be a tenth of your position. And next thing you know, you realize you made the same amount that you did on the other 90% of that position. And you're like,
Hmm.
man, a little
Yeah,
size
and that's
there.
what a lot of
This can
people
work.
sometimes I think look over is even if you just leave 10% of your position on and you make, 10% more, that's still 10% more that you've now added to your day. And if you add up 10% over every day, over a year, that is a huge difference in your trading than not letting it go.
Yeah, I think it could determine between the break-even trader and the trader that's actually in the winning. And I think that that's the important thing. Also understanding that at the end of the day, your whole goal is to try to eventually catch one of these runs, right? I mean, we can still take trades based on kind of the consolidation, trying to take profits at the range, right? Maybe you're taking profits at resistance or support. But at the end of the day, we're all looking for one of these positions just to go. And it's kind of like we have another trader that trades with us and is on the show often, Justin. He talks about how you sometimes just need to survive till you get lucky, right? And I think that that's how it is sometimes as a trader. We don't know when these positions are going to be all day fades or runs, but you just take the trades and set up that way and look to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of the next phase of my trading that I'm trying to talk myself into and work through is not just now an all-day fader, but say you have a stock that has made a multi-day move and you get in towards the top on like the third, fourth, fifth day, whatever it may be. Now turn those leftovers into a multi-day fader is going to be kind of the goal going forward.
Yeah. Do you do mainly just only day trading, or do you a little swing on that side? It sounds like there's a little swing sometimes.
That's the goal. I haven't really done it yet. I've been kind of back testing it as I go to see, how I would do with it had I left, even if it was just like 50 shares on for whatever. How would that do if you left it on for 3 more days and then that penny stock drops another $2 or whatever, 50 cents, doesn't matter. But yeah, that's kind of the goal. I do some, not really swing trading, but I do some like long-term investing on my own in like a Roth IRA. But that's very small compared to the day trading stuff. It's mostly that.
Yeah, love it, love it. And I think it's important. I mean, I think it's fun to definitely start testing around. I know when I started moving towards swing game, is I started just realizing more and more how the little size was giving me great returns, and then the little size is what pushed me more and more towards the swing trade, because I felt like I always looked at daily charts pretty well. I think that the problem there is that a lot of swing traders can see daily charts well, but can they see the intraday charts well too? So I think it's a matter of combining that day trading experience to get the best day entry, right, on a good day chart, right? Good daily chart, right? Because then you're using some advantages. You're using those day trading skills to improve entry, and then using swing skills to expand the wins. So I think it's
with
a great
swing
way.
trading, I think generally you can go much smaller size because you can get much bigger moves in general out of multiple days than you can out of one day. So I think it's also beneficial for especially people who are newer into trading, because then smaller size means less emotions, means better decisions. So I think it's a good thing for that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. Steve, I'll let you jump in here. I'm sure you have a couple of questions. You've heard all the conversation on strategy here. I'll let you jump in with some.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess my first question is, I know you like to trade penny stocks, right? Or like smaller cap stuff. When you do trade do you ever trade larger cap stocks at all?
Yeah, I'll trade Tesla. I'll trade whatever.
It's like me, Steve. Anything, it's what's under the sun and looks good, man. On the strategy side of things, I've seen you trade Tesla before. I've watched you trade Tesla a couple of times. I know you like trading that. It's a fast runner, right? I mean, it makes money and loses money really fast. That's for sure.
Yeah, it hurt me earlier this month, but got out of that one.
Yeah,
I hear you.
I call it the dragon because it sometimes you're gonna tame the dragon, and sometimes the dragon's gonna get you. It might burn you. So
speaking of getting burned, I'm short Qs right now, and so that's why I'm a little distracted. We're just ripping there.
Oh man, I've been back and forth. I'll talk a little bit about my trading action, and Justin, you can talk if you're seeing anything out there, if you're seeing setups or something like that. So I've been in the VIX a couple of times here, trying to catch this pop back right on the. So the key is the daily chart looks also like it could be coming back too, right? We talked about that too, right? So daily setup looks good too. 15 minutes. I keep trying to get in on these VWAP pullbacks and selling on the rip. I've already sold once or twice on the rip. I'm in the green there, but I sold at like 67.02 as this was starting to push. It went to 67.30s. It's still just not making a complete break. The SPY kind of chopping around also here, just kind of trying to keep climbing, trying to keep the win. And remember, I talked about how the VWAP rejection play might come into play. That is actually holding in right now for VWAP kind of push, right? So this could have been the breakdown. It would have been the VWAP rejection. Instead, we're getting a push right back to the resistance. This could be a break of that 547 level that Steve was talking about just shortly ago.
Yeah, I'm adding just a little bit to my short, but I'm also looking around for long exposure too, in case I'm just straight up wrong.
Yeah, I can't blame you on that outlook. I've been looking at gold all day, seeing if I would get another opportunity. I'm getting it right now, guys. So I'm looking to see if I maybe take GLD here for a move back towards the 306. Doesn't look too bad here. The only key is the SPY needs to start coming back down if I really want this to kind of make the move. So we'll see what happens here. Will we get the move? I think I'm going to be a little patient here and look to see where the SPY breaks. Is it 547 or 545.50? How are you seeing the market right now, Justin? Anything that you're seeing out there setting up?
Well, the market is actually the one thing that I refuse to trade.
Love it.
Believe
Love
or
it.
not. I do not trade the market itself. Even when it's making like what would be considered one of my normal moves, a big move, I think the market for me is just too unpredictable. I've never done well on it myself. So that's where I'll see you guys doing your trades in the market, and that's where I'm like, that's foreign to me. I don't mess with that stuff at all.
Hey, I can't blame you. Do you watch it, or do you just try to just focus on the other
I
parts?
always have the SPY and the Qs up, just because if I'm in a bigger cap stock like Tesla, I want to know what it's doing, because I know that that's potentially going to have a high likelihood of affecting it. If I'm in a long and all of a sudden the market starts dumping, I want to know that, because I'm probably going to want to get out then.
Yeah.
I can't blame you on that. And I think that's just the way it is right now. We'll see what happens here, guys. Back and forth action here. I'm taking another shot on the VIX here. I just took a long there. So we'll see what happens if the market gets going here. Let's see if we can actually start to get a ramp up in the market here. We got a great question from Steph in the chat. Steph loves to do these smaller stocks. So I think that's a great question for you, Justin. It's asking, so what's the best way that you like to exit the last like kind of third of those shares, that leftover, right? After taking two profits on a trade, right? When do you go and you determine, hey, enough's enough. I'm just going to take the profits here. Do you do a stop loss? Is it a trailing? What type of strategies do you use there?
Yeah, so it kind of depends. I do it two ways. If it makes a big fast dump down and it comes down and it like completely, because a lot of times you'll see the penny stocks, they will completely give back the move, and they can do it in one candle sometimes. So if it gives it all back like right away, I'll just be happy to take that, because it's now completely given back the move that it made and did it very quickly. Can't complain. If it's a slower fade out, I will basically just do a trailing stop and I'll pull it down. If I see where it starts to plateau and curve a little bit, I'll bring the stop down just a little bit above that plateau and curve. And then if it breaks down further, great. If not, then I've let it go as far as I can. And if it starts to pop up from there, it's all done.
Yeah, and is there a specific percentage that you look for on the upside? Is there like a certain time that you're looking for?
No, I don't look at percentage almost at all. I don't particularly care about what the percentage of the move is, unless it's something that's just like an insane one that's up like 500% on the day. Then I'm probably not going to mess with that one. Probably not going to have shares to mess with it anyway in my platform, but I'm not going to mess with something making one of those insane sun run type moves. But otherwise, the percent is not as important to me as the actual move itself. I just want the move to be fast and intense and as far away from where it was a minute or two ago as possible. So the only line that I have up on my chart is the VWAP. That's the only line that I have. I don't have any other lines on there. So if I see it, I kind of use that as my guide to see an extension. So you can tell the difference between something that's slowly moving away from it and something that is just rocket shipped away from it. I just kind of, like I said earlier, I use the range of the candles to determine risk sizing, and then daily charts if there is a good one to look at levels from there.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I think you definitely have found the strategy within itself there, and I think it's something to look for, guys. If you guys want to see more of Justin, I'm going to go ahead and throw up a couple of links here. Steve, I'll let you go with the last one here, and then we'll get Justin out of here. But looking forward to bringing you back on, man. And I think it's great that you do these trades. I know that a lot of traders in here are going to be wanting to see some of these videos, so you guys can definitely catch some of even the prior trades, right? I think that's one of the best things. It's not only just catch the live streams, right? Go back and see those trades that he's doing on these so that you can see the action of how he's going about it, right? I think it's really good that you show how you are, man. I know you're fully transparent. That's why I appreciate you, my friend, and thank you for coming on.
It's not fun doing that, though.
Yeah. Trust me. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Trust me on that. Like, it's tough to be fully transparent, but hey, there's very few out there, man. And I can tell you, I always talk about this. I feel like real traders find other real traders, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for traders that are in here and continuing to battle. I know that you've done this for a long time. This hasn't been a 1-year battle, and I know that you're going to continue battling here and continue winning. So I'll let Steve wrap up with the last question here, and we'll get you out.
All right, so two-parter. Just first off, touching on what you just mentioned on just trading off VWAP. I found a lot of more experienced traders, as they continue trading, they're pulling indicators off their screen. Did you start out with more and then whittle it down to that?
Oh yeah, when I first started, especially, I had, it looked crazy, and then I had, the Bollinger Bands, I had all the different EMAs on there, I had pretty much everything that you could imagine on there, and it just, when I think about trading, and when I was first getting into this strategy, and the guy that I kind of learned from, he's like, if you were to ask a kid how to trade in the stock market, are you gonna be telling them about all these averages and indicators? What are they going to tell you? They're going to say, oh, you buy high or buy low, sell high, right? So that is the very basis between, now it's reversed most times for me, sell high, buy low, but that is the very basis of trading in the market. So when you have a ton of stuff on your screen, for me, it just muddies the picture. It makes you get more things to think about. I'm the keep it simple, stupid type of trader. So
I love it.
I love that. We do.
Question. Anything we should be keeping an eye on today or tomorrow? Any names that are on your focus list?
So that's one of the unique things about my trading too, is I can sit down 30 seconds before the market opens, having looked at nothing, and be ready to go. I generally 99% of the time have no idea what it is that I'm even trading. Like CNF today, I had no idea that was going to be on the market, the watch list or things like that. Now, if there's something that's been moving recently, like yesterday and the day before, like ABVE, that one's still on my watch list going forward throughout the rest of the week, just because it's still pretty extended high. So I'll be watching that one if I have shares to go. But otherwise, I just wait for my scanner to yell at me, and then I make a decision from there.
Love it. Awesome.
Love it. And just one more to add here. I think it's an important one. What about like pre-market trading? Do you do any pre-market trading? I
do sometimes, but especially with my style, is because pre-market doesn't have things like halts and protections. Sometimes pre-market can just, you don't know what the range is going to be quite as well. So I will trade pre-market, but generally I will do it like a quarter of the size as I would during the day.
Hey, love to see it, guys. And there, guys, I threw up there a link so that you guys can see all the action there from Garage Trade Day Trader. And I'm also throwing up here a recent link to a stream here so that you guys can also just jump right into the YouTube, give them a nice subscribe. Thank you for coming on here. We'll definitely have you back on. Garage Day Trader Justin, thank you for coming on and speaking to what a lot of people are really thanking you for, is because there's a lot of strategies that we have in our chat. So thank you for coming in and speaking to them.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. And
yeah, we'll have you back, my friend. Take care. All right. Steph definitely enjoyed that. You can see that great tip. We'll keep the speed of the move in mind now. And that's what it's all about, guys. I'm going to continue reaching out to different strategy style of traders. So you guys out there, tell us what you guys want to hear from. We'll reach out. I'll be pushing for you guys. And I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Definitely a lot of love there for Justin. And that's what it's all about, guys. There you go. There you guys see him in the chat. Give him a good little follow, guys. It's good to see him. All right, guys, I got out of there. Break even again on the VIX there. I've been just playing these little games like, okay, am I going to get the run here? Okay, no, I'm not getting the run. VIX comes back. Am I getting the run? No, I'm not getting the run. This is where it's going to be hard. This is where I feel like the market's been doing this as of late. So the key is whenever I get in, making sure that the risk is staying small, because every time I'm getting in, I'm opening myself up to risk. And I got to keep that in mind. So when I've been getting in, I've been trying to risk about 10 to 15 cents, which is pretty tight for the VIX here. So just trying to get in. When it gets back to green and it's green, I'm going back break even and just keep playing the game, because right now we're in this chop right at VWAP. Something's going to give here. The question is, what's going to give, right? Is it the SPY? Is it the SPY going up high? Is it the Qs coming back down low? Are we going to get maybe some deal talk in India? Who knows, right? This is the hard part of the market right now, guys. So strap in and get ready, boys, because they ain't, boys and girls out there, because it ain't going to be getting easier anytime soon. You got to stay your head on a swivel right now. That's the hard part.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a spicy little consolidation here. Some big candles. I still think we resolve lower. I'm still hanging out in my shorts here. They are a little underwater, but not bad. I just keep nibbling.
Dust going lower. That tells me something too. JLD starting to come back for that 305. Remember, I talked about maybe a 304 recovery seemed like an interesting bet there for it to come back towards the 306. It's looking like it right now. So I've just been playing this VIX game, but I'm gonna keep trying it here. Let's try one more time here. 66.90s entries. So what are we gonna risk on? I'm gonna risk right on the VWAP back here towards 66.77s. It's about 16 ticks. I've talked about how I've been trying to keep it between 10 and 15 ticks. I'm going one more tick there, so don't hurt me. But I'm trying it here, guys. And the key right now, it's about to go into that green trade here. I'll show you guys it positions on the bottom. So you see there that $9. When it starts to pop towards like the 67.20s, I've been moving the break even. So just as soon as it gets towards the breakout areas, going back to the break even. And that's Hendrix trying to make noise, trying to let you guys know he's a part of the trade.
Time for his attention.
So you see there, $27. Now I'm break even again. Nice. And this is just giving myself the opportunity for the run, guys. We don't know if it's going to give it to me, but I'll rather keep taking these opportunities and look to see if I get stopped out, like right there, pulled back right now. So now I give it the opportunity. I can get back in at 67.10 and risk 67 if it starts to break out. But the key is always making sure that you're keeping in mind, like I couldn't risk there to 66.60. If I would have done that, it's easy. The wipeout comes, and now I take a big loss on the day. So we'll see what happens here, guys. And in the long scheme of things, I'm still green on the day. I'm just trying to bounce back here, guys. I'm pretty much, and this doesn't happen often, guys, but this is funny. Look.
Ooh, Tesla's making a move here.
Look at that bottom. Zero. You can't make this stuff up sometimes, guys.
Oh, that's too funny. I feel that. Oh, it looks like I'm getting.
I told you I shouldn't have traded. I should have just watched the action. I told you about it, Steve.
Yeah, man, it happens. It happens. I took a little starter on TSLL here. I'm gonna see if it holds VWAP here.
You going for the long?
Yeah, long. Just to hedge my my shorts.
UPS, man, that thing's been smoked today, man. That thing doesn't want to bounce. Let's look around to Microsoft. Microsoft just hanging out here, just hanging out above VWAP there. We still have the opportunity for them to take it here. Let's see if they want to take it. The Qs are trying to make the run here.
Yeah, I'm stopping out of my shorts. They look strong. I'm gonna let it do its thing. I should have trusted myself. So this is when it wicks down and flushes hard, right?
Well, it's the fourth attempt, right? And closes is where it matters. The wick there scares a lot of traders, and that's normal. Don't get it twisted. Wicks, remember what I talk about, guys. Wicks are tricks, and tricks are for kids, guys.
Wicks are tricks.
They fed it to us. We just didn't listen, man. Wicks are tricks. Tricks are for kids, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I can hop back in short, but I was getting cooked a little bit too much.
I need a shirt. I need a shirt with that bunny on there, and just
silly
wicks are tricks, you know.
That's great.
Steve, we need to create the funny T-shirt business for stock traders, and I think that's what we need to do, man. All
right, I'll get my brainstorming cap on.
Yeah, man. Start getting these quotes ready. We're gonna start making shirts here, guys.
Really quick, Connor. Yeah, do either of you? Let me see if I Oh, look at me being a producer. Do either of you try and keep your trades within a certain time period of the day? I know some traders only like to trade the first hour or so.
Yeah.
So I love trading the first hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I'll trade the last hour, and I'll trade like an hour pre-market too if if setups look good. So those are my my kill zones, so to speak.
All right, we're going for that VWAP again on the VXX. Do I try it again? Well, let's try it. Let's try it. And it's all about risk of return, guys. The return potential here is good. The risk is tight, so you just got to keep it tight here. I'm not trying to play though below VWAP. That's where I've been trying to stay in respecting myself, because essentially you're testing support. Support can be broken. So what I'm looking for is when it starts to whipsaw back up, and then just playing with it like a pullback risk, essentially.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Here's the VIX there, and you see exactly what I'm talking about. So you start to play back here above the VWAP, and then now you keep getting these little wick attempts down, though. That's where it gets a little dangerous, and you just got to be careful. You want to see a closing action, and that's where it gets scary, like the Qs right now. Is it going to close up there? If it closes up there, yeah, that's why I'm not long the VXX right here, right? Yeah. So we'll see what happens here. Does the Qs make the move?
It's looking pretty strong, I gotta say. So, yeah. Ooh, yeah, baby, look at that, Cook. Let's see if it resolves up. But Tesla's ripping.
Yeah, no, that's what's a good sign too is this, right? What you want to see: volume, 2 or 3 times volume is a big levels to watch for, right? So when you were trading here, on average, probably around 60 to 70,000 shares. Then all of a sudden you trade 205,000 shares, tells us the ramp up is coming.
Yeah.
And time frame is all about that, man. I tell you right now, Connor, if I traded on my own, I've come to the conclusion I'd probably start coming to the market at 10 a.m.
I like that. Comfortable.
If I traded only by myself. Like if I just traded by myself, I like to take trades between 10 to 11. And then there's a window spot for lunch of probably 11 to 12. And then I start looking at the market between 1 to 2 for the afternoon opportunities for a run into the close. And I usually close those positions before 3:30 or 3:40 because we know how our liquidation starts at 3:50. I don't allow traders to go into that liquidation at 3:50 because I'm just asking to lose some gains there. So I'll take it a lot of times at 3:30s and 3:40s and I'm done. But those trades are very simple. They're like the ones that Michael does a lot of the times. They're very systematic in the afternoon. I'll be where it's like, hey, I'm just looking to do a reversal here. It's a 10-cent risk, but a 6 to 1 or 7 to 1 look, something like that. I'm like, well, I'll take a $10 risk here. Let's see what happens. Or like a day where there's like kind of a talk or something like that, like the Fed talk the other day. Jerome Powell was talking, and I knew that. I was like, man, this guy's going to poo-poo this market up. So I took a bet on that. But when did I take the bet? 10 minutes after he started talking, not before he started talking or during this talk. It was after he was already making negative comments. So then I'm just running with the momentum that has switched. We'll see what happens here, guys. It's still a slow grind up higher, but the slow grind is actually better than the fast grind here. I would be more worried if it was a fast move. The bulls are just climbing things back. It's called the climb of the wall of worry. That's what we're doing right now. We're climbing that wall of worry. I think you look to see if your 15-minute candle can close towards 470 versus below, let's say, 467.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking around to see what's starting to lead the market. Remember, everything was red. Now technology back into the green from the open. The technology leading the upside action, energy and real estate behind that, and cyclicals. What's downside? Downside is communication services and defensives pretty much starting to reject a little bit there. Healthcare is starting to come back a little bit there. So I say you watch technology. Technology is going to make the run, make the call here because it's the leader on the day. And it's the one that we're looking towards more. So the Qs get back into focus. More focus on the Qs here. Let's see if we can start to see the lift or not here on this Qs chart. I'd be looking at the 15-minute or the 5-minute chart at this point. I show the ones a lot, especially for the show, because it just shows the action a lot more. But it's at this point in time, I say you're closer towards 15 minutes, and you can maybe look at 5 for setups, trying to perfect entry. But 15 minutes is where you want to be closer to, meaning that, like, essentially, like if I want to long here, I want to understand where my risk is. I can't risk down to 463, right? So those types of things come into play. So 15-minute lows, 466.80s, understanding the range that's being established in the 15 minutes and those candles, especially in the afternoon, is very important. Are we getting range expansion? Are we getting a tightening of the range, right? I think we're getting that tightening. Now the question is, will we get a reversal back down? I think you just got to continue to watch.
It's definitely possible here. I'm on the fence. I'm just sitting mostly cash here right now.
Oh, here's some news at 10:50. That's not going to be good news here. Bloomberg hitting the wire, guys. Here it is. I'll put it on the screen here. NVIDIA CEO says Trump should revise rules on AI chip exports. What did I talk about? I told you guys, NVIDIA's feeling the pressure. China is hitting the knock, knock, knock. We're going to knock you down if you don't do something about this. Go call Trump and make things happen. So a lot of people are wondering, is there deal talks going on with China? Well, I'll tell you where it is happening. It's happening from the CEOs. It's not happening from Xi and the president talking to each other. No, that's not what's happening. What's happening is underneath the hood conversations are happening between companies like Apple, like NVIDIA, that have huge exposure to China, that are here knocking on the door saying, they're starting to put pressure on us out there, and it's going to disrupt our business massively. If we don't change these AI chip exports, well, guess what? They're going to change to another chip. And if they step around us, we get cut out. And they don't want to be cut out. And there's a lot of push on China to try to start to cut out some of these U.S. reliance, right? Now you're getting the opposite. You're getting China trying to cut out us. Not good news. Not good news in the long run. Q's continuing to grind higher, man. I'm
with Rando here. I think we are setting up for some expansion higher. I'd like to see 471 on Qs. That's a big level for me. That's basically the hourly and half-hour stack triggers for me. So I'm in on one of those wicks down. I didn't want to interrupt you. I just got a little bit of exposure in TQQQ, and I've been in Tesla long too. I didn't want to interrupt Justin there.
No, you're good. You have been in that TSLL. I know that one, almost getting to the 10 spot that you were looking at there. TSLL getting back there, and good call, Rando, on the opening price. I love mentions like this, Rando, and I appreciate your mentions, man. I know you come in here sparingly, focusing on your trade, but love it, Rando. Good comment, man.
Good stuff, yeah.
AC2000 saying app had a really nice move after tested view app at 10 a.m. Let's take a look at app. Loving, that's a nice VWAP. Nice. Push right back up, right? And really good hold of the 9 EMA, not really cutting it. So it just continues to grind. It is slowing down a little bit here. Could give you a little bit of a pullback back towards maybe the support, the 260. But this looks good on the bounce back. Of course, this is an application name, so we didn't get a crazy chance to talk about some stuff. It's already 11:08, so we've gone super extra here. But we're going to save a little bit more of that developer conversation. But what was said here, and I think it's an important one for all you guys to think about, was that Microsoft CEO said that as much as 30% of the company's code is now written in artificial intelligence. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said that I say maybe the 20 to 30 code inside the repos today in some of our projects are written by this, right? And he said he doesn't know the exact number, but he's talking all about this. And I think that this is something that we need to expand to look at. They've hired thousands and thousands of developers to do this in humans. Now we're talking probably 40 to 50% of the development's probably going to be established by AI. Well, some people's jobs are in trouble here. Now, the only question is, How will the return come for these software companies? Will it actually increase margins for them? That it can do, right? Labor is one of the most expensive costs that is out there. Steve bringing some great conversation with software trade ideas. So think about that, guys. We'll expand about that and we'll keep talking about it. Steve, thank you, my friend, for joining me like always. I hope you guys enjoyed Garage Day Trader and enjoyed all the action here. Hit the subscribe now. If you're not subscribed, I know you see it lighting up, and we'll see you back right here, guys. Don't miss Steve tomorrow on Trader TV, guys. That's going to be at the end of the day. And then, of course, the webinar. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, and we'll have Dennis Dick on tomorrow to talk about the markets. Any last words for those traders out there, Steve?
No, stay safe. Look for spots to get long. And yeah, good luck out there, boys.
Good luck.